I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bow your heads on me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this evening. We thank you that as we come off election season, that you gave us all the right to be in this incredible country and exercise that right to come out and vote. We appreciate every single one that did that. I want you to ask that you bless the new incoming aldermen and give a little grace to us guys that are going out. And just appreciate everybody that exercises their civic duty and cares about this community. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, go to roll call, please.
Scholes.
Here.
LeBlanc.
Here.
Denham. Here. Milton.
Yep.
Cooper.
Here.
Howden.
Here.
Lucas. And
So,
I'm so sorry, really quick. Alderman Lucas is attending virtually.
is he online?
I just wanted to make sure.
Can you hear us okay, Alderman Lucas? Okay, can you hear us okay now, sir? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to start off tonight with an Employee of the Month. Director Michael Woods, would you come down? He's presenting Public Works Engineering Department, the Employee of the Month for April 2026.
Come on now, Roger. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. On behalf of the board and the Board of Aldermen, City Administrator, and City staff, it's my honor to announce Engineering Construction Manager Roger Clark as the City of Branson's April 2026 Service and Excellent Employee of the Month. Roger has spent 21 years in this community. His fingerprints are all over this community. The city's Branson values through his leadership, teamwork, and dedication. He lives by his motto every day. The first time I met Roger, I said, "How's today going?" He said, "All the city, all the time." And he truly honors that every day, and everybody that knows Roger knows that's his saying. So we appreciate that. Roger played a key role in the successful construction of the Branson Police Building, keeping the project on track, on time, and within budget. He was consistently on site, coordinating contractors, supporting internal crews, and ensuring every detail met the city standards. I'm honored that Roger fights for the city, and he fights for the city with the contractors for a great product at the end of the day. Even while managing this major project, Roger continued supporting inspections, traffic signal repairs, and the Pacific Water Tower remodel. Roger's leadership, attention to detail, and commitment to service have made a lasting impact on the facilities that will serve all of us for a very long time to come. His humility, accountability, and dedication make him truly deserving of this recognition. I also like to highlight this is not Roger's first time of getting this, but how many times have you gotten this? Too many to count, right? So I said all these people came out because they remember all the other times. So we'd like to congratulate Roger on that, and he gets this with a beautiful picture of the brand new PD. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Next, we have the public comment. This is the public comment section of the Board of Aldermen meeting. At this time, the board will hear the citizens who have signed up in the order they are listed. Please note the clerk will let the speakers know when they have 30 seconds left, and a notification will sound when their time is up. We ask that speakers wrap up their comments upon hearing the 30-second warning. If a speaker would like a board member to bring an item from the consent agenda down for additional discussion, please note this request during comments. Please come to the freestanding podium to address the board. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Yes, sir. We have 5 speakers this evening. The first one is Veronica Moore, speaking on concern for children against pedophiles.
That's where I
Okay.
need to be?
You bet.
Okay. I'll let Hillary pass those things out. There's several articles there that I want to bring the attention to all of you. And I don't know how this happened to come in front of me, but actually a state representative's wife sent the article to me that you see on front, and it was in Facebook page. So, and I know there's been an answer to that video. She also sent that to me just a few minutes ago, actually. But I think the first thing I want to talk to you about, because we are talking about predators, which seems to be very high in the limelight these days, especially since the Epstein files have become part of the surface of everything all over, not only just the United States, but all over the world. But let's concentrate on Branson and the area of Southwest Missouri. So I'm going to go first to Tim Tebow urges Congress to end child sex trafficking and save kids from the darkest hour, because I think that is so very important at this time of our life. Tim Tebow came to speak in front of Congress on March the 3rd. Representative Hawley, our Senator Hawley, brought him to Congress to talk about this because it's become an amazing, horrible problem, and it just keeps growing every year. So he showed a map, Tim Tebow did, with bright red clusters, dots, explaining that every dot represented someone who is downloading, sharing, distributing rape images of children under the age of 12. We're talking children now starting in infant stage that are being kidnapped, tortured, abused. And he said that 55 to 85% of them are also hands-on, and we know that your average offender has 13 victims in their lifetime. Tebow has started something called Operation Renewed Hope 2 years ago, and he's hoping to get our Congress to get involved and pass an act called Renewed Hope Act. He identified and wanted to rescue children of child abuse victims that are estimated the number of victims has increased to 89,000 children within our borders. And Senator Hawley described a few things as well. He said that since he is named the committee leader of the Republican U.S. Senate, and explained that hundreds of thousands of children remain unidentified in the global law enforcement databases. The databases are full of images of children who are bound, gagged, crying, exploited, and yet in thousands upon thousands of cases, they don't know who these children are. They don't know where they are or where the abusers are. So these images are active crime scenes, and we are waiting for whenever we see something, we should say something, no matter where we are. If we find someone that is abusing a child or apparently could be abusing a child, because the next step, that offender might be kidnapping that child and setting them into sex trafficking, which is something we absolutely do not want to have. We're talking thousands upon thousands of children within our own country, and it's going on in every community. We now find out that 20% of the administrators and teachers in our public schools and private schools are abusing children and grooming them. We have public schools that need to have special classes given to them to help them be educated, to be able to help point out what teachers or what administrators, or no matter
30
where on the
seconds.
school property. Is my time up?
Just 30 seconds.
Okay. So I just wanted to let you know that what is going on, that we need our police to help protect us, which is, I know they want to do that, and they are ready to protect us. They've been great. But we are going to have a conference in October that we'll be educating the public and we'll be inviting the public to learn about what's going on and how to prevent it. So parents, be prepared. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And just so you know, our city is taking this issue very seriously. There are 3 aldermen, Clay Cooper, Ruth Denham, and Ralph LeBlanc, and they're taking this head on. And I know Ruth's actively involved with that in October. And in fact, Ruth tells me her goal is to get Tim Tebow to come to Branson. So you'll start seeing more and more from the city on that. But thank you to bringing it to our attention. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Kirk Elmquist, speaking on encourage.
Good evening, Kirk Elmquist, Missouri. Kathy, I want to thank you over the years, and I don't know if I've ever said this, but your bridge building's been amazing. The communication and the phone pickup, and when we communicate, it's good, and I'm grateful. The challenge, we get a stake and get over it and move forward, and I'm grateful for that, and it's only been one stake. Continue that. Marshall, Ralph, we're grateful for your service, for your time, your energy, your passion, your enthusiasm, and your enlightening conversations with me for 4 and 5 hours on weekends, Marshall and Ralph. You guys, I'm grateful. You've taught me an awful lot, and I can't thank you enough for standing in the gap and being helpful to this community and leading. Alex, Ashley, Glenn, we encourage you to continue these bridges. We're grateful for what you're doing. Keep speaking truth and doing great things. As you get sworn in, let's lean forward. Let's keep moving forward. Let's encourage people to keep cranking. Coop, I appreciate you, man. You're singing at night, doing what you do. You got buildings full of people telling the story nationally. Ruthie, love your passion for what we do. And Artie, I know you can hear me online, and I'm grateful for what you do, and I love your passion about great things. Larry, the conversations and the communication and the struggle you're dealing with in your health, brother, stay in the fight. Marines.
Semper Fi.
I encourage you to keep building bridges as this change happens. Last week, I was at Big Cedar Lodge Golf with my old compatriots, and I want to share some encouraging news with you. Their leadership shared with me, you'll love this, more buddy groups are coming to Branson. That's 6, 8, 10 guys playing golf, spending 4 and 5 nights, and their wives are coming as well. The cool thing is they stay out there, the wives stay in here and go shopping when they're not playing golf. That's a great thing for our marketplace. They said to me that they will have more rounds of golf ever this year in 2026 coming forward because of the Internet Invitational and many other things. Just today, as I was driving down the highway, I got a phone call from a very high-ranking official from Silver Dollar City. And he said to me, Kirk, we are in the midst of the second highest revenue-producing spring break we've ever had in the history of our organization. So I'm encouraged by what's going on around here and what's happening. And I'm encouraged by the growth of communication. Let's keep doing. Let's just keep doing. That's what we have to continue to do. I think we will accomplish much between the TCD, the city, and the CVB Explore Branson and the Chamber of Commerce if we don't care who gets the credit. So thank you all for stepping in the gap and helping us out. Appreciate it.
Kirk, thank you. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Pam Yancey, speaking on thank you.
Good evening. I didn't write anything down because I wanted you to know that every word that I say is going to come from the bottom of my heart. And I mean every one of them. 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, when I stood in front of this same group of people, our relationship was a little contentious. And I'm not saying that was wrong, but I want to talk about what's happened in a little over 2 years. The relationships that we've built, some rebuilt, some brand new. Where we're at today is a totally different place than we were a little over 2 years ago. and it's because of the people that's sitting up there. I want to say thank you for the trust that you put in me and our organization, the spirit of collaboration and transparency. Each one of you have been very special to me in so many different ways. And Alderman Howden and Alderman LeBlanc, as I say goodbye to you tonight as members of this board, I know your heart and your passion for this community, and I know that we will continue to work together to make Branson an even better place. Clay, Mayor, Alderman Schultz, I know that we're going to continue to work together. So I wish Alderman LeBlanc and Alderman Howden all the best in whatever you do going forward, and know that you have my deep appreciation. Alderman Schultz, congratulations on winning a re-election. We continue to look forward to working with you and making things better in our community. And with that, I want to say welcome to almost soon to be Alderman Alex Williams and Alderwoman Ashley Harkness. I know they too have a heart and a passion for making this community better. We could not have done what we've done without each of you, but I also want to share some credit where credit is due. You see us occasionally, you pick up the phone, you call, but the people that we work with on a very regular basis, sometimes almost daily, is Kathy Stepp and the staff that is here every single day in this building working to make Branson better. So I would like to say thank you for your openness, for your generosity, and for your friendship, and always saying it like it is. We don't pull any punches. We tell the truth to each other, but we always work together to make this destination thrive and grow. My heart could not be more full for each one of you, the ones who are leaving. You'll see me again real soon, I promise. My back's going out, Dr. Ralph. And for the new ones that are coming on board, I look forward to working with them. And I've already met with Ashley, so I know her heart. I've worked with her for many years. Long before it was Elevate Branson, it was Jesus Was Homeless, and we've had a wonderful relationship. Same with Alex. I look forward to that. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for everything you've done for this community, because what you do makes a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pam. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Derek Frederickson, speaking on vision.
Good evening, Mayor, Administrator Stepp, Board of Aldermen. Kind of just want to say everything Kirk just said and sit down. But I just wanted to say thank you. I'm addressing the mayor, but Alderman LeBlanc, Alderman Howden, everything you guys have done for our community. It's not easy to want to run and serve and deal with what you have to deal with. So thank you for doing that all the years you have. Speaking to the newly elected aldermen, I would just encourage and echo what's been said already. The vision that's been laid out by this administration, by Administrator Stepp as well. Appreciate all you're doing, and would just encourage the new group as they're sworn in to just continue carrying it forward. The bridge building that was mentioned, that was a word that comes to mind. And so just want to encourage everybody to keep working together, getting along, and I have no question that there will be differences and challenges along the way. As new groups work together, transitions can be hard, but I have even more certainty that everybody that's newly elected and everybody who's currently here and working for the city as well cares deeply about Branson. And so continue to keep that front of mind, do what's right. Thank you for being willing to run and serve. Thank you to you both for all your years of service, and the staff just continue to encourage you to work together. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Derek. Madam Clerk?
Our final speaker is Cherry Webster, speaking on Aldermen.
I used to shake in my boots when Cherry would come up and address us.
Let her speak first.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
while I'm standing here, you can watch my back. There's liable to be a few stabs back there. Good evening. My name is Cherry Webster. I live in Country Bluff Estates in Ward 3. I want to especially thank Alderman Ralph and Marshall for protecting our neighborhood the last 4 years. You've done a great job. As I was reflecting on last week's election, several elements from it brought to mind this question. How is it that Branson residents have gone back to electing aldermen who cede control of City Hall to developers, many of whom do not live in the city limits or even Taney County? The first element was a statement Ashley made early on to one of the Country Bluff homeowners. She said, quote, "I need to get elected so that I can help Alex break the voter block," end quote. Well, that sounds like the start of a mission statement. And what's the corollary to breaking a block? Creating a new block. Upon pulling all the candidates' filings with the Ethics Commission for just February and March, it became readily apparent that what Ashley really meant was that she needed to help create a developer's voter block. Her filings listed $16,358 from 24 donors. Of that $16K, $14,750 came from 18 of the 24 donors, who are developers, builders, and brokers. Of those 18, 10 do not even live in the city limits. The second element was an observation of an audit tent, but only at the Ward 3 polling station. It was set up and manned by the 3 Cushman developers, David, James, and Andrew. The focus was to sign up voters to request a city audit, since apparently the annual audits by the independent CPA firm were somehow inadequate, as well as the open finance page on the city's website, which shows money in and money out. The tent signage also highlighted the $35 million award to the Cushmans last fall, as if it were a misdeed that should have been avoided by the city if instead it had negotiated a settlement with the Cushmans. As a side note, the 3 Cushmans contributed $1,000 each to the Ashley campaign, and they do not even live in Taney County, let alone the city limits. The third element was Ashley's words on a social media post April 2nd, quote, "Not a single donor has asked me to vote on any issue in exchange for their donation, and if they ever do, my answer will be no. I will cast my vote independently on every issue based on the available facts, the impact on our community, and what's best for the future of Branson," end quote. Certainly her words sound good, but words without corresponding actions are worthless. The fourth element was the Ward 2 Schultz for Branson mail campaign to at least the Country Bluff subdivision, if not all of Ward 3, urging everyone to vote Alex, Ashley, and Glenn. The fifth element was the April 3rd Branson Globe half-page picture in living black and pink confirming the 4 alderman voter block. It takes 4 aldermen, or 3 aldermen and a mayor, to fire and hire the city administrator, the city attorney, and city clerk, as well as formulate and pass legislation. So how could this developer's block actually play out? Well, I can envision an executive session for litigation and personnel. What if the topic of that session was the $35 million award for the Cushmans from Taney County Judge Merrill? What if the developer's block voted to fire the city attorney because they knew the appeal, which would take place outside of Taney County, has a high likelihood of being overturned? What if the developer's block voted to withdraw the city's appeal to that award and settle instead? Might the attorney fees for the appeal be a better investment for the taxpayers who would otherwise have to pick up the settlement tab? With all of these possibilities, it wouldn't so much look like a developer's voter block as it would a Cushman voter block. Now, that would be a stunning return on their $3K investment. I can also envision a reconsideration of previously proposed Cushman TIFs that the TIF Commission voted down. What if the developer's block were to approve one? Well, that may look even more like a Cushman voter block. My last what if. In order to resolve Ashley's developer community conflicts of interest, what if she recused herself from the discussions and voting that would benefit her donors? Might our city residents have a real voice then? So the spotlights are on Alex and Ashley. Alex, because when he filed last fall to run for alderman,
30 seconds.
he also filed to run for mayor next year. He just didn't tell the voters that was why he was campaigning so hard while unopposed. Of course, the brightest spotlight is on Ashley because of her mission statement, her donors, and her words of promise. Will her actions correspond to her words or cede control to developers? As we wait and see, may God help this city put ethics at the forefront of its operations. Any questions?
Thank you, Cherry. So next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any member of the board or staff would like to have moved down from the consent agenda to ask additional questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, I would like item number 5 to be removed from the consent agenda and placed as the first item on the regular agenda in the current legislative session.
Okay, any others? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please read the items on the consent agenda as amended?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the March 24th, 2026 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of the Industrial Development Authority minutes for the March 14th, 2025 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of monthly contract report from March 2nd, 2026 to April 5th, 2026. Final reading of Bill Number 6658, an ordinance approving the adoption of the Transportation Master Plan for the City of Branson as a guiding document for planning, prioritizing, and investing in its transportation system. Final reading of Bill Number 6661, an ordinance amending the adopted 2025 budget for the City of Branson to adjust monies for the mandatory redemption, waterfall, debt service payments, transfers, and other expenses in various funds. And final reading of Bill Number 6662, an ordinance amending the adopted 2026 budget for the City of Branson to increase the city's annual budget for fiscal year 2026 in various funds due to capital projects and updated 2026 projections. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving all items on the amended consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote for the consent agenda?
Scholes?
Yes.
Blanc?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Howden?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries. Your Honor, this is a final reading of Bill Number 6660, an ordinance amending Section 1-2 of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to Board of Appeals.
You've heard the final reading of Bill 6660. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Glenn, would you like to address this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could we bring up the bill up on the screen, please? Thank you. So my concern about this bill is twofold. One, I think the logic is quite flawed in what it's trying to accomplish. The other is, I think ultimately it could put the city in legal peril. Let me describe my concern about the logic of this bill. We currently, before this bill is enacted, the procedure is that the administration, through the mayor, nominates somebody to the Board of Aldermen that the board then can approve to sit on the Board of Appeals. What this bill says is, well, if the administration can't get that done, then instead the city administrator in the administration will appoint somebody to this board. And that logic seems horribly flawed to me, in that we really should be having the mayor bring the nominee to the board and the board vote on it. I also think that if they have a candidate, we meet twice every month at a minimum and could easily take up a nomination for that board and properly seat somebody on that board through the power of the Board of Aldermen. And I think we should leave it that way as well. My concern about the legal issues of this is simply that while it's not necessarily a given, the appointment by the administrator, while potentially well-intentioned, could be viewed as, by the appellate, as a move to put somebody on the board that is not favorable to their claim against the city. And that last-minute action of doing that was to specifically stack the deck against that appellate. So I'm concerned. I think the board should retain control of these board appointments. If the administration can't get a nominee to the board to act on, I don't see how the administration can logically come up with a nominee that they can appoint on their own. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions, comments? Clay?
I mean, it seems pretty logical to me, what he said. I get it. I mean, I don't disagree with it.
Any other questions, comments? Any questions, comments from the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in, roll call vote.
What are we voting to do?
Change this language.
To change it to what you have?
No,
Insert.
what I would propose is that I am not in favor of this bill, and I'm simply going to vote against it, which would leave it in the current status.
That's why I asked.
Thank you. Thank you, Clay. So is everybody clear of what we're voting on? Okay. Madam Clerk, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Scholes,
No.
LeBlanc. No. Denham,
No.
Cooper,
No.
Howden,
No.
Lucas.
No.
Result of the vote is 6 noes, 0 yeses. The motion fails.
Madam Clerk, would you please provide an introduction to this item?
So this is the certification of election results by Stephanie Spencer, Taney County Clerk. The following is an official certificate of election results for the municipal election held in Taney County, Missouri on April 7th, 2026 upon the following. Alderman Ward 1, Alex Williams, 197 votes. Alderman Ward 2, Glenn Scholes, 307 votes. Alderman Ward 3, Ralph J. LeBlanc, 258 votes. And Ashley Harkness, 286 votes. This was certified the 10th day of April 2026 and will be entered into the record as an attachment to the minutes of this meeting.
Thank you. So, recognition for the outgoing alderman. Excuse me. We'll now have recognition for the outgoing alderman. Marshall is a Board of Aldermen, first elected in April of '22, served through April of '24, and was re-elected in '24 to the '26, so he's served 4 years. Marshall's been on the Advisory Park Board. He served 3 years, and prior to his time as an alderman, Marshall served as a citizen representative from May of '21 to April of '22. He served on the Transportation Development District, TDD Board, from July of '22 to April of '24 as an interim director to fill an unexpired term of Bill Skanes, and was reappointed as a director on the TDD from July 24 to April 26. He served as a Chamber of Commerce representative from the city from 23 through 22, and Taney County Partnership Board from April 25 to April 26, served 1 year. Marshall has been my mayor's ambassador to the shows since '21, and I've asked Marshall, and he's politely agreed to continue being the mayor's ambassador to the shows, and that's, we all know that's a big passion of Marshall's. Marshall, you've made a difference to our community on many of the decisions you've made, on many of the conversations we've had. You've had a real impact on our community. And I, for one, will miss you sitting up here very much. Go ahead. Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate it. There's a beautiful spirit in here tonight. I feel that. You know, we all have fought hard. We fought hard in the past. We fought hard in this election. But I really feel that we can continue the spirit of camaraderie. With that being said, I've prepared some remarks because this is rather emotional for me, and I want to be clear and concise with everything I have to say. As of January, I've now lived in this town for 33 years. The first third of it was spent on stage with my granddaddy, and the last third has been involved in local politics. I've always loved history and civics, but it wasn't until I began running for office that I realized our live music shows needed an advocate. So, with the help of the mayor, that's what I became. The other individuals who helped me along this journey are too numerous to name, but I'm going to give a few of them their due in this moment. Names like my sister, Madison Howden, who served as my first campaign treasurer, my dear friend Marty Hughes, who took over that mantle, and my fellow Branson Pirate alum Daniel Seitz, who ran my successful campaigns for office. They were joined by a myriad of other individuals who made this all possible. I'm thinking of names like Jim Barber, Kent Emmons, Bruce Johnston, Debbie Campbell, Buck Trent, Mike Patrick, and Jeff Topper, just to name a few. To anyone who has donated to my campaigns over the years, I am forever grateful. And to anyone who has helped me with a street cleanup or the initiative to tie yellow ribbons around this community, we all owe you a debt of gratitude. But you know, I've never been afraid to do things that will upset some powers that be if I felt it was best for this community. However, one thing that I have never done is intentionally made an enemy of someone who has sat on that dais with me. In fact, I feel that I've done the direct opposite and forged lasting bonds with each and every one of them. From Chuck to Cody to Clay, Ruth, Ralph, Glenn, and Artie. There are very few in this world that know exactly what it's like to be an alderman in a town like Branson, and there is a certain kinship that can be formed if you allow it to. So I'm going to speak to those bonds now, but I have to start with my forever friend, Ralph LeBlanc. We came up together, we dreamed together, and now we're going to go right off into the sunset. Ralph, your emotional quotient is second to none, and even when you get upset about something from time to time, it comes from a place of intense passion and belief that a motivated group of individuals can reach for the stars. Go rocket in your business, man, and your innate ability to help people will continue in your office every single day. To Ruth Denham, you've been my prayer warrior, my rock, and my moral compass through so much of this. I love you dearly, and I'll miss serving with you every day when I think about my tenure. To Clay Cooper, bro, it kicked the Song of Hope movement into the highest gear when an entertainer of your caliber joined this board. Clay and I have an almost familial relationship due to the fact that his theater was the last one my granddaddy performed in here in Branson, and because my sister and his daughter Cassidy are best friends. But beyond that, for the last 4 years, I've marched forward with the utmost confidence that Ward 1 had the best possible representation because of the partnership that Clay and I had. His passion for this community, be it the live shows or our beloved Branson sports teams, is unmatched, and he's a steadfast champion for everything he believes in. To Glenn Schultz, we became fast friends on the Rotary Club years ago, and he's always been there for me. Showing up to the crazy events that I put on and sitting beside me at just about every TCED meeting. Glenn, the transformation that you and I helped shepherd in when it comes to that critical board will be impactful for generations to come, and I think we're just getting started. Glenn believed in me through challenges and moments of uncertainty, and for that I'll be forever grateful. To Artie Lucas, brother, from the moment you got on this board, I pitched a vision to you, and you not only believed in it, but you acted upon it, and quite frankly, even took it further than I did. That means the world to me, and you will always have a special place in my heart. We laughed together, We had some moments of disagreement, but most importantly, we prayed together. And when eternity comes, I have a feeling we'll be doing a lot more of that in the presence of our Lord. Alex Gerard, bro, you were my sounding board and ideological partner in all of this from the day you arrived. Every single time a citizen brought an issue to me, I was able to relay it to Alex, and it was taken care of to the best of his ability. He's also somebody who dreamed with me and asked how he could assist in making my mission come true. You're a rock star, dude. And I highly doubt in the grand scheme of things that this is your last chief of staff role. Be great in everything you do, because the sky's the limit. To my Kathy, I put it all on the line to vote to hire you, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. Few realize how much change City Hall needed when she stepped into her role. And I don't even need to be the one to sing her praises, just ask our directors. Kathy, I would go into your office at some of my lowest points, and I always left feeling reinvigorated and ready to take on the world. Without her, I don't believe we would have succeeded to this level. She carried every quality it took to be our leader during my tenure, and I'm getting something in this town named after you someday. That's a promise. To Mayor Milton, no setback or valley can ever erase what you and I accomplished together. Sure, I envisioned a day that City Hall would honor the entertainers of our past, but it was you who set forth those proclamations, and your voice that was the clarion call we needed to fight the group that held this community back for so many years. I've seen you face adversity after adversity and come out of those tests stronger. You will always be a huge part of my journey, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you did for me. To Ashley, girl, be fierce, be independent, be you. And please work with me on this Trails initiative. I have an immense amount of knowledge on where that project has been and what it took to get us here. And with the connections that you have to some of your supporters, I know we can complete this whole amazing Connected Trails network and create something pretty darn cool for this community. To Alex, brother, live up to everything a Ward 1 alderman should be. Please continue to be an ardent supporter of our shows, as I know you will, and may God pour his blessings upon you and the work you do for our citizens. You know, I'm a guy who grew up with a lot of heroes. So much so that when I got married and my groomsmen and I went on a trip, as is customary to do, instead of going to Las Vegas or whatever den of iniquity people usually spend time in, I took all my best friends to Springfield, Massachusetts to watch my favorite athlete of all time, Ben Wallace, be enshrined in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. And after his speech, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. He took to that podium and in a series of short vignettes told the story of how an underdog became the first undrafted player to ever reach the Hall of Fame. You follow, I'll lead, he said. Be strong, be motivated. He quoted his mom, stand tall, stick your chest out, hold your head up. Now do it again. Stand tall, stick your chest out, hold your head up. For I live by those words and words like them. It's funny, when I first ran for office, I didn't have a chance in the world. In fact, a victory for me was winning a third of the vote. But I took that victory and ran with it. I gathered a team around me, consistently showed up year after year, stepped aside when I thought it was somebody else's moment, and ultimately ended up in one of those seats. Folks, the truth is that I'm stepping down to focus on my family business for this season. But if the citizens will have me, I'll be back. And if I lose, I'll run again. 6 times it took me to be elected in this town. But once I was, they voted me right back in there. That's because I built relationships with my constituents, fought tooth and nail for my values, and never stopped trying. I'll take so many things away from this experience. It taught me leadership, perseverance, and the true nature of what it means to be a volunteer, go Vols. But above all that, I was able to serve my community, honor my family legacy, and be true to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And verily I say unto you, that nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, is ever going to bring me down. God bless you, and God bless Branson forever.
Kathy, would you read that plaque?
I didn't bring my glasses. From the city of Branson, in appreciation for your service to our community, Marshall Howden, Alderman Ward 1, from April 2022 to April 2026. Congratulations, Marshall, and thank you.
Congratulations, Marshall. Wow. So Ralph, you get to follow that. Ralph LeBlanc, Board of Aldermen from 22 to 24, reelected in 24 to 26. He's on the Finance Committee for 4 years. The TDD, Transportation Development District, for 4 years. He was on the HR, the Human Resource Committee, and there he served 3 months. Chamber of Commerce Board for 1 year. The Planning Commission, and he served for 1 year. Ralph has been an integral part in shaping and framing a lot of what you see that this board has done over the last 4 years. Very passionate alderman, and I think from my point of view, one of his biggest accolades that will go down in the history of this city is with his creation of the idea for our new police station. It saved our residents literally millions of dollars, several years in advance having it built versus a new build. Once he came up with the idea and he floated it by myself and the aldermen and the police chief, everybody thought it made a lot of sense. We spent a few dollars on some due diligence, and the rest is history. Ralph, you were more than an alderman. I think you became a real friend to not only everybody on this board, but everybody in your ward. That rhymed. That was good. I will miss you. And I look forward to continuing to serve with Clay and Ruth on that pedophile issue that we're dealing with. Kathy, would you go down with Kathy? And do you have anything you'd like to share, Ralph? Maybe?
Ralph doesn't want to talk.
We put the 5-minute timer up on.
Push a button. No? Wow. To every administrative person, director, to every person that cleans the streets, cuts the grass, trims the trees, thank you. Thank you. You guys are what make this city so great. My job is easy. We just had to inspire you to just step into your power and step into your strength and be your best. And you understood the assignment. Each of you are top-level professionals, top-level leaders, inspirational people who move others to live their dream and to just be part of something bigger than themselves. And that's what I got to witness over the last 4 years. So as much as following Marshall is kind of difficult tonight, I never prepare a speech. I always speak from my heart. Everyone who knows and has witnessed any of these board meetings, I speak my truth every time I step in front of here, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, this city with this staff is in very good hands. And I applaud each and every one of you. And every time I see you, I will continue to inspire you and move you to be your greatness. Many of you, you've shared your outside dreams and inspirations with me. And for those of you who have, continue. Live those dreams. Be inspired. Do the things that bring you joy and happiness. Because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. It's the least scalable thing. Can't make money off of happiness, but man, it sure makes a hell of a difference. So to each of you, thank you all so much. To the board, clear back to 4 years ago, the board was a little bit different. To those gentlemen, I've made some great friends. To the gentlemen that are on this board now and ladies, great friends, lifelong friends. Mayor, you're right. I was the least likely person when we first met.
That's right.
But we have fostered a relationship that goes beyond what happens in this chamber, because even outside, the friendship and the professionalism, the mastermind that we've created to inspire the residents of this community to think differently is huge. And I would employ everyone to continue that level of inspiration, because those are the things that matter. You know, he says, for a lack of vision, we'll perish. Right now, we have an amazing vision in place, and I hope that it continues in the direction that fulfills this community's desire to be great. So that's all I got to say. Marshall, you did good, buddy. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you.
Alderman LeBlanc has asked me to read his plaque. Can I just say I really appreciate the brevity on this. From the city of Branson, in appreciation for your service to our community, Ralph LeBlanc, Alderman Ward 3, City of Branson, April 2022 to April of 2026. Congratulations, Alderman Blanc, and our deep thanks.
At this time, I'd like to invite Chief Schmidt to come forward and say a few words.
EJ, would you go and start distributing? So this has been a long time coming. I promised you you'd get one. It's only fitting that you get the first one. A couple years ago, 3 years ago, Ralph had a harebrained idea. He pulled out his last hair to do it. And we have a police station thanks to him, and we have a phenomenal police station thanks to him. We accomplished things with that station that we would never have been able to accomplish anywhere else. If we had continued with a new build, we would still be waiting on a police station. Not only do we have a phenomenal police station, but we have one that we can hire 40 more officers and not have to spend another dime. We have one that our insurance carrier was just out today and was amazed at everything we were able to do for the amount that we did it, saying it far surpasses anything that he's seen anywhere in the state. And so for that, we are eternally grateful, and I have your hammer here. And each of the council members and board members are also receiving one, but we wanted to, since it was Ralph's idea, we wanted to make sure. These are the hammers you guys swung when we started disassembling that building a couple years ago.
That is so cool. Chief Schmidt, EJ, very, very appreciated. Any aldermen have any comments? What's that, Ruth? Yes.
I had something for Marshall and Ralph. Marshall, I love you too. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for your service and for being such a dedicated colleague. It's been a privilege working alongside you on this board. Your insight and commitment to our community have truly made a difference. Wishing you all the best in all of your endeavors. As you move on, I wish you continued success and fulfillment. I have no doubt that your passion for service will continue to make a difference wherever you go. I'm glad we'll continue to work together on boards and projects. Thank you again for your partnership, your friendship, and your service. Dr. Ralph, Alder Doc. Your dedication to our community and your thoughtful approach to leadership have made a lasting impact. I've especially valued your willingness to collaborate, your steady perspective during challenging decisions, and your genuine commitment to doing what's right for those we represent. Working with you has been both a privilege and a learning experience. Your contributions have helped shape meaningful progress, and your presence will certainly be missed at board meetings. As you move on from this role, please know that your impact will be lasting. The progress made under your leadership has helped shape a stronger, more connected community, and your efforts have set a high standard for public service. All the best to you as you continue to serve by providing health, healing, and peace to those in this community. Thank you.
Any other aldermen?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Artie.
I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere thank you to Ralph and to Marshall for your years of service to the city of Branson. Although we haven't always agreed all the time, we've been able to agree to disagree agreeably. We've been able to press on past differences we had and work for the betterment of the community. And I sincerely thank you. Having been through this political arena many, many times, I just thank you. I know what a sacrifice it is for you and for your families, and I thank you.
Thank you, Artie.
I'm gonna miss them. You know, it's, when I got in this 5 years ago, I guess it was, I was like, my wife said, "What are you doing?" Of course, it was COVID, and I was roused up. And I just remember coming to all these meetings and seeing this board up here, and I was like, oh, you know. And like Marshall said, I end up being friends with all those guys. I still talk, I mean, great friends with all those guys. So it does build a friendship with people that you wouldn't dream of or think, that's not really my type of fella, you know what I mean? And it's been pretty wild because, I mean, when you guys came in, we were on opposite ends on a hot topic, and it was tense, many meetings of tense. And I'm glad it came out the way it did. And I don't know, just appreciate all the hard work that you put into it, because I'm behind all those closed doors with you guys, and I see all the, sometimes it's easy to hear stuff, what goes on behind closed doors, but until you're behind the closed doors, that's when you'll know what's really going on. And it's work, and there's agreements and disagreements, but we still get up. We leave that night laughing, midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. A lot of times after 5 hours of arguing or disagreeing on one topic, and we still sit and chat in the parking lot for 30 minutes, hug each other's necks, and see you next Tuesday. So it's pretty wild. I'll miss you guys, and I appreciate everything that both of you have done. So thank you.
Any other aldermen? Hearing none, then I have this word I'm supposed to pronounce. So, do I have a motion to adjourn Say Na Dia?
So moved.
Sine die.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Let the record reflect the current legislative session is adjourned and the new legislative session will begin with the administering of oaths of office.
So we will now take a brief recess. could take our seats, please.
Oh, boy.
White, stick your head in there. If you stick your head in there and tell me when you get started.
Oh, will it be on? Yeah. That's a good call.
Thank you, Ruthie. Very nice.
I don't know. Did she post them for mail-ins online? I'm not sure if that's. Am I yelling?
So you want
it off?
Yep. And hi, Ashley. Welcome aboard.
Oh my gosh, it's on.
Very good. Kathy. Who are we missing? Not Marshall.
Ready?
Oh, that's it.
Okay. At this time, we are going to administer the oaths of office. First up, Alex Williams. I, Alex Williams,
I, Alex Williams,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I possess
all the qualifications
all the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office
for the office
of Alderman Ward 1,
Alderman Ward 1,
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Missouri,
and the state of Missouri,
the provisions
the provisions
of all laws
of all laws
of this state
of this state
affecting cities
affecting cities
of this class
of this class,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the city of Branson,
of the city of Branson,
and will faithfully
and will faithfully
demean myself
demean myself
while in office.
while in office.
You're good. Next up, we have Glenn Schultz. I got it. I, Glenn Schultz,
I, Glenn Schultz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I possess
all the qualifications
all the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office
for the office
of Alderman Ward 2,
of Alderman Ward 2,
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Missouri,
and the state of Missouri,
the provisions
the provisions
of all laws
of all laws
of this state
of this state
affecting cities
affecting cities
of this class,
of this class,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the city of Branson,
of the city of Branson,
and will faithfully
and will faithfully
demean myself
demean myself
while in office.
while in office.
You want to take your seat at the dais. Ashley Harkness. Ready? I, Ashley Harkness,
I, Ashley Harkness,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I possess
all the qualifications
all the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office of Alderman Ward 3,
Alderman Ward 3,
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Missouri,
and the state of Missouri,
the provisions
the provisions
of all laws
of all laws
of this state
of this state
affecting cities
affecting cities
of this class,
of this class,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the city of Branson,
of the city of Branson,
and will faithfully
and will faithfully
demean myself
demean myself
while in office.
while in office.
I will now call this new legislative session to order. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Harkness? Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Milton?
Yes.
Denham?
Here.
Schultz?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. So nominations are now open for acting president of the board.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to nominate Clay Cooper.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to nominate Alex Williams.
Okay. So we have two nominations. And Hillary, from this, you will take a vote, a manual vote?
So as soon as you close the nominations, I have ballots that I will pass out, and the alderman will write the name down, and then I will bring it back and read the votes out loud. We'll
Okay.
tally them.
Nominations are now closed. Hillary, how are you collecting Artie's?
So we're gonna just do a voice.
Okay.
Alderman Lucas, can you let us know who you are voting for?
Alex Williams.
Okay, we have Alderman Harkness voted for Alex Williams. Alderman Schultz voted for Alex Williams. Alderman Williams voted for Alderman Williams. Alderman Denham voted for Clay Cooper, and Alderman Cooper voted for Alderman Cooper. So the result of the vote is 4 for Alex Williams and 2 for Alderman Cooper. So Alex Williams is nominated as the acting president of the board.
There you go.
Your Honor, the next item is a presentation by the Information Technology Department highlighting the benefits of Geographic Information Systems, GIS, to the City of Branson's operations.
So we'll begin with a report from Chad Forster.
Good evening, everyone. To the outgoing aldermen, thank you for your service, and to the newly elected, thank you for serving as well. Appreciate you. So again, my name is Chad Forrester. I'm the IT director for the city of Branson. Mayor and members of the board, thank you for your time this evening to allow us to present and highlight our GIS division, our Geographic Information Systems division of your IT department. This idea kind of came about because Kathy does monthly, quarterly, I don't know, somewhere in there, meetings with each department. And so as we were highlighting some of the benefits of GIS, Kathy said, hey, why don't we take this to the board and educate the public on some of these cool things you guys do every single day that maybe we don't think about as much because that's just what we do. And as like Curtis likes to call us propeller heads, right? And so that's kind of how this came to be, and we appreciate your time in doing that and appreciate the time, Kathy, so thank you. So first I want to take a moment to just brag on our entire team. So we're talking about GIS tonight, but I truly have an amazing team that works in the IT department. It's taken us, we've been together many, many years, and we're close-knit, and I'm very proud of each of them. So I want to recognize them and all their hard work publicly and to this board. So a little history lesson. GIS hasn't always been under IT. Curtis has been with the city 28, I was off, 28 years, and has literally built this system from the ground up. Now, obviously, there's been tremendous help with data input and things like that, but this is Curtis's passion. This is his baby, and anyone that's ever interacted with Curtis would say the same. And more importantly than all his skill sets, which are amazing, he's just a good human being, and I'm proud to represent him in our department. So thank you for that, Curtis. And I'm not done bragging yet because I'd be so bold to tell you that I believe that Curtis isn't just one of the best at his craft in Missouri. I truly believe he's probably one of the best in the entire country at local government GIS. And so I just want to thank you for that. Thank you for your service and all your hard work over the years, Curtis. With that, he is, in fact, the expert in all this, right? So I'm going to turn it over to our very capable GIS manager, Curtis Copeland, and let him share with some things with you that I hope you'll find educational and, dare I say, interesting. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor and members of the board, thanks for allowing me some time this evening to talk about GIS. I promise I will not nerd out and take a whole lot of time. I'll try to get through it as quickly as possible. But I want to start by just reiterating what Chad said and about this being a team effort. I appreciate all the kudos. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to hear all that, but I really appreciate it. It's very, makes him feel very good. But I've always been honored to work here at the city. It's been a wonderful place to do GIS. I mean, it's the perfect environment for it because I get to work with all the city departments, which, what a great team. The whole city, the city staff is incredible. And also the community. I see a lot of folks out here in the crowd tonight I've known for years, and the position I've been in to be able to help our citizens and visitors is just real rewarding, and I'm very thankful. I feel blessed to have been able to be here all this time and it be my life career. So I'm very thankful for that and the longtime support of not only this board, but many boards before, and just the leadership that had the vision of this technology. And that technology tonight is kind of what I want to show off, is that a little bit of show and tell. For those of you that may not know the term GIS or Geographic Information Systems, back when I first got started, it was the Wild West. I would, like Marshall mentioned, the Wizard of Oz. I was the guy behind the curtain in the closet for a few years, just trying to get this thing off the ground and building data to work with. But the vision of what this can do, the goal is to just help Branson have the most efficient government possible and help our staff do their job and be transparent and have data that we can share with our community, because our citizens and our staff have invested years of time into collecting the data to be able to run this analysis. And let's talk about that real quick. Again, I can get real loquacious and real nerdy, so I'll move on. But I'm going to go department by department just to kind of show you some of the things that GIS can do. And this is literally scratching the surface. So I'm going to just start with Hillary's department, with the city clerk. And so what GIS does, in the early days, everybody thought it was about making maps because that was the easiest way to explain it. But it's really the power of the analysis, because every feature on that map, and we have hundreds of features from trails to fire hydrants to everything in between, they all have data associated with it. And but when we're talking about the city clerk, Ruth, you might remember this from way back in the day, but we used to have multiple address databases in one city, and none of them matched. So the first thing we had to do was get a good, solid address database, a singular one that every system utilized. And we did spend a lot of time cleaning up address data. But that's important because with the city clerk's office, boundaries and what addresses lie within and out of different boundaries is really important. So another thing you see up there is basically a scan. So Branson, especially since the early 90s, has had lots of development, lots of plats and subdivisions and stuff come through. And we used to have about 27 tons of rolled paper maps and plans and plats up in the archives, and very difficult to access. And so the clerk's department has led the way with a system called Laserfish. All that documentation is scanned, but to reference that, we can reference it geographically, because it really is a lot easier to see. A picture's worth 1,000 words. And if you can pick a point on a map and recall information quickly, it's great. So moving on, finance department. So as most of y'all know, we've got a number of different special tax districts to keep track of. Those are defined by these wonderful things called legal descriptions that are great bedtime reading material, but they're bearings and distances. And we map out those boundaries. Boundaries are important so that folks are paying the right taxes or not paying taxes they shouldn't be. And then what you see on the other side is a really wonderful thing that's been happening in the last probably 5 to 6 years, maybe a little bit more, is where we're able to empower our other city staff with GIS. So what we see is water meter locations. And why is that important to the finance department? Well, the utility billing element. And so the utilities department has been wonderful to work with. We provide an application for these folks to go out in the field. They're reading meters anyway, and I think it's going to be changing a little bit with the new technology coming along. But at the time when they're all visiting these water meters, they could literally tag that location, make sure the meter ID is correct, and people are getting the right utility bills. So it's really nice. It's all about, GIS and the data associated with it's kind of like a fiddle. It gets, the music gets sweeter and better over time, and we've really striving for accurate data. Fire department, it's an exciting place to have GIS. What you see on the left are response times from each fire station. Now, when I got started, we'd already had 3 fire station locations, and we're able to say, okay, an engine can get to such and such address in such and such amount of time. But what's really cool is when we're going to, as our city has grown, we need additional fire services. Where should we put the new fire station? And we, working with Chief Martin and staff, we're identifying different locations and running this kind of analysis to find what would be the most optimum location for a new fire station. On the right, really interesting stuff, can be kind of spooky too. This is an idea of how we collaborate with other government agencies. This is an example of working with the United States Corps of Engineers, who are in charge of that big concrete thing at the west end of town called Table Rock Dam. And a lot of you probably remember some of the significant floods. We've had a 100-year flood like 5 times in the last decade. But so what's really important and what is fantastic about where Branson is situated is we got a warning system. We've got a big control gate up there called Table Rock Dam. And the Corps of Engineers works with our emergency services, and they say, hey, we have got to release a certain amount of cubic foot per second of water. And so what we have done is done modeling to know each amount, for every few thousand cubic foot of water, we know the elevation that water line rises. And so that's wonderful to be able to have evacuation routes and early warning systems for those neighborhoods and businesses that are along Taney-Como. So IT department, this is really the backbone of GIS. This is not the pretty maps. This isn't the fun pictures to look at. This is the skeleton that's behind the beautiful face. I'd like to mention some folks by name that are just fantastic. We got Brendan Rappenchuk, who is probably one of the most brilliant, smart people I know. He is our network engineer. He handles all our servers where our GIS data is stored. He makes sure that our network is up and functioning so that all of our staff has access to the data. We've got Chance Moore, the young man that's running around to every facility all across town installing software. The guy is like the Energizer Bunny. He's full of energy, and he takes care of people. Brandon Reed with software and licensing when you're dealing with literally hundreds of GIS software licenses. I couldn't do it without Brandon. And of course, Matt Gregory, who helps with all the utility applications. And then Linda Sue, who is our GIS specialist, that is very helpful as well. So, legal department. So I was talking about those wonderful documents called a legal description, and what you see on the left is just a sample of all those words that don't make a lot of sense. And it's a whole lot of fun whenever I get a legal description that's 14 pages long, and thank goodness for GIS to help map it. But that's important because, again, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and we can look at that, and what we do is we verify that language is correct, because once that legal description is recorded, it becomes a legal instrument in the court of law, and we want to be sure that when we do easements and any other kind of land type of transactions, that we have accurate information. We really strive for accuracy. Parks and Rec, this is where the fun part of my job, whenever I get outside, and I love trails, I love being outdoors, and I'm so thankful I have the opportunity to go out, and we can go out and collect data with a GPS. We collect data from aerial photography, not us, but we contract out for things like that. And what you see here is, on the left is the end result, which is, if you all visit Lakeside Forest, and if you haven't been there, it's probably my favorite park in town. It's got all the elements, history, the landscape, the lake, wonderful trails. But that's the end product of GIS there. At the beginning on the right is the part where we're planning trails, and we're constantly in that mode of where can other trails be. Marshall mentioned earlier about that connectivity of getting a trail system in Branson, which is great not only for our citizens but visitors. And we look at things like topography, available vacant lands, different things that would be conducive to create a trail. And in the middle there, you see the same data that's used on the left for a field app or mobile application that our visitors can download right there on site. Lakeside Forest is an awesome place, but it's got 360 some odd steps going down the bluff and about 1,000 going back up. So we have a lot of folks that get in a little bit of trouble out there, and we have a wonderful EMS system that can go out there. The fire guys have been out there a few times. But we developed a system that go with this app. They are trail marker locations. They can say, hey, I sprained my ankle, or I'm straight up lost and I'm out of water, but I am close to this mile marker, and come out and get me, please. Planning, development and GIS go so closely hand in hand. I could talk all day about all the applications that are used in planning and GIS. Obviously, tracking zoning, tracking land use. What you see in the middle is a visualization of our setbacks that are in there by code. And again, it's really nice to have these things to be able to visualize them rather than just reading them in a document. And police department, so another exciting one. It's been really exciting to work with the police department over the years. I've done tasks for the police department that I never thought I'd do, getting calls in the middle of the night saying, bring your GPS, we've got to GPS certain things. But anyway, the most important thing in GIS and working with, be it fire or police, is that we want to be sure that our guys and gals can get to an emergency quickly and effectively. So we start with good addresses and we start with good data for our dispatch. And we always try to keep our dispatch personnel up to speed with good addresses and these what's called fireboxes. And fireboxes is they know which fire departments to call at the same time so that they both meet at a location. In the middle, just basic things like where are the police beats that, it could be you could have 4 or 5 officers and those or 4 or 5 patrol cars out on any given time, and those would show those boundaries. And again, we've done analysis about where should we have officers and patrol vehicles kind of posted throughout town to where they can be of service to our citizens and visitors quickly and also equitably for all the officers involved, so not one of them's getting all the calls or making all the runs. Public Works and Engineering, this is where GIS was born. My very first boss, city engineer at that time, David Miller, he was a guy that also had that vision back in like literally 1990. And he was starting to collect data from engineering firms that typically would provide plans on paper and said, hey, please provide this in a digital format, AutoCAD at that time. And so the great thing is by starting in our GIS in engineering is that the data we initially created had that engineering accuracy. It was an accuracy that would support engineering functions. So on the far left, you see all the really engineering type of things, the 1 foot and 2 foot contours, the building footprints, paved areas, things like that. And then and as we move forward, we start to, again, make this data accessible. So our streets department is starting to use this data for their snow routes. And then they can, during a snow event, we've got an application that our citizens that can see which roads have been taken care of in a snow event in live time. And then on the far right, you see where our signs department uses GIS in the field to help keep track of all their signs and the maintenance of those signs and the new signs and so forth. I'm almost there, y'all. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Utilities department, again, very similar, but also different. They use a lot of the same data as the engineering department, but they're hyper-focused on the water and wastewater, of course. And the image in the middle is what's so important. Again, in recent years, when I first started here, the utility folks were going out in the field with a field notebook and taking everything down with pencil, and then later on they would go down and they would take this in pencil and then enter it into a computer at the end of the day. But now they can go out and do everything at once, and they have become our data collectors. I remember back when I first started, I had to go out with a GPS unit that had 4 of the old school camcorder batteries in a backpack that was like 50 pounds and a laptop for the viewing device. Couldn't see my feet, always falling down the hill and breaking hard drives. But now these guys can take their phone or an iPad and collect this data for me. And they're the experts on it. They know what they're looking at, and they enter that data in the field, and it's been so wonderful. We have great data, and our field guys and gals are fantastic help. And then finally, administration, and this is the one where the vision comes in, where we look at where we've been, where we're going, and we empower the science behind GIS and the power behind the data to do so. And what you see is some future planning type of data. And what you see are positive and negative influences on development, positive, and there's multiple examples. But what we've done is taken the whole city and turned it into this great big hexagon grid that each little hexagon represents 1 acre of ground. And every one of those thousands of hexagons have data associated with them. Here I go nerding out. But anyway, we come up with this pretty picture that you can visually see where are good areas of future development. And that includes things like access to utilities, access to trails and parks and sidewalks, emergency services, medical facilities, and then on the negative side, extreme slopes, wetlands, rivers and streams and different things. So it's a lot of fun. But it's not just fun. I think of course, I'm biased, but I think it's a great way to make good decisions for a city. And once again, going all the way back to working with the citizens and the friendships I've made over the years, providing all kinds of maps. You would not believe the map requests I've gotten over the years. We've helped Boy Scout routes through town for different things, and working with the downtown and the Branson Centennial Museum and historic locations in Branson and different routes. Just, it's so much fun to get involved with the community, and that's been a real blessing, part of my job. But this interactive map gallery is where we can be transparent and we can get this data out for our citizens and visitors to empower them to make their own decisions and learn about their town. And we've got, as you can see, a bunch of different apps for just about anything and everything you can think of. But again, I promised Kathy this would be short, and I'm so sorry that it went long. But again, I want to thank you all for your support of this system. And the big deal I've always strove for is that the cities and the city staff and the citizens get the return on their investment that they deserve. And so thank you, and thank you for your time.
Curtis, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Curtis. Appreciate you. Happy to answer any questions you might have as well.
Any questions from the board?
Just a statement, that guy's brilliant. It's pretty amazing to see what all goes in, I mean, like really what all goes into making all of that happen. That was enlightening to see, so thank you.
It is amazing. Anybody in the audience? I'm sorry, would you come up to the, we have people listening online.
My name is Kurt Lord, and I'm interested in following up. The mayor, I think it was the last meeting, said there was some special incentive districts that they're working on. It might be a community improvement district in a certain area, or a transportation development district, or even the boundaries of a TIF. Can we currently use the system to see those boundaries, or is that coming in the future?
No, Curtis, you want to come back up and educate us on this? But the answer is yes. Yes,
it's currently available, or yes, it's coming in the future?
I'm going to let the expert answer that more specifically.
Okay.
But
So those special tax districts and special districts like that, improvement districts, we do have that data available, and we, to make a request for that map. A lot of things, so we've got literally hundreds of different kind of map layers and data layers. We put a lot of them online. Some of them either we don't have the quote-unquote bandwidth to do it, and some of it we just actually kind of need to have a little bit of control on it, especially if it's like sensitive, like if it's our water system or something like that. When it comes to like utilities, I'll just say this real quick to explain it, but like utilities, a lot of times people will take those and avoid talking to like our utilities department whenever they go to dig and put in a new fence or disturb the ground, and we don't want to encourage that kind of activity. So there's some things that we encourage. Of course, our data is public data, but some things we encourage citizens to come and make that request. And those special tax districts would be one of them because they're also sensitive. Again, like when I talked about our working with our finance department, those boundaries are real critical because it affects people's tax rates. And so we just want to be sure that whenever we get a request like that, that we're providing the most accurate data possible. So.
Thank you.
To answer your question, we can provide you maps with any of our taxing districts. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I got one, if I could.
Who's this?
Oh, here,
Alex,
sir.
yes.
Director Force, hey, I appreciate you a ton. I wanted to give you credit for one of your tools since it's up on the screen in the upper right-hand corner for elected officials. That tool was distributed quite a bit on social media during the last election, and so we went from 6.54% in municipal turnout last year up to 9.12%. There's a lot of factors that go into that, but local level governance is where the rubber meets the road, and your team, I think, deserves credit for helping give a positive tool and helping people know who represents them and where they turn out to vote.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience have any questions or comments? Hearing none. Any board? Nope. So thank you very much, Chad. Appreciate you. Curtis,
Thank you.
great work. Thank you.
Your Honor, the next item is a resolution for board consideration regarding the criteria for public comment during Board of Aldermen meetings.
I have a motion adopting this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Staff report from Alderman Cooper.
Okay, just to give a little background to it, when I came on the board in April of 21, which was, like I said, it was very heated. There were a lot of people coming and speaking about the mask mandate and stuff. The rule that was in place at that time from the mayor here at the time was that you had to live in the city limits to be able to speak at that microphone. Yes.
That's what it was before we took office.
Correct.
Yeah.
When I came in April of 21,
Okay,
that was the rule
That's
with the
right.
mayor at that time and that board at the time.
that's right.
And I sat out here at a lot of the meetings, people would come up and speak, and he'd find out where they were from, and then he would turn them away. You know, I live 100 feet from the city limits, son. Sorry, sit down. So, and you were an alderman at the time, so when you came on as mayor and Ruth and I came in, we decided to change that to open it up to anybody could speak.
That's right.
Right? And since the last meeting a few weeks ago, with the ICE and the Homeland Security, we had a 6-hour public comment. 6 hours of just public comment. On one hand, I can count how many of those people were from Branson. So the reason I bring this up is I'd like to see us kind of tighten that up a little bit, not necessarily in the city limits of Branson, but my request would be, or what I'm asking is, Stoner, Taney County, Stoner, Taney County, or, because a lot of people may not live here, but they have a business here and they work here. So I believe they still have as much, if they operate a business or work here, they should have input on what goes on in our city, regardless if they live in Christian or Kansas, right? So what I'm requesting it to read as, each person wishing to speak during public comment must show proof of residency of Stoner, Taney County and/or show proof of ownership of a business within the city limits of Branson, is what I'm proposing. So, any discussion, I'd love to hear it.
Is that a motion?
Well, I mean,
That's a motion.
it is a motion, yes.
I would second it.
So a motion and a second.
So we already had it on the floor, so it's a resolution.
Okay, it's a resolution.
Okay.
yeah. So
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
over here. I agree with, in general, with what Clay's proposing. I think, though, we need to recognize that we really have two different parts to our ordinance as it relates to public speaking. Most of the comments that occurred that night came from the beginning of the meeting, public speaking. I mean, we had a lot there, but we asked people to wait and speak during the bill itself that was under consideration or the resolution. And we have a different ordinance for that part of speaking versus the part that begins at the start of the meeting. And so, you know, I think actually if we were to enforce the ordinance for the speaking during the bills, we're actually in a little better shape than we were that night. I think we didn't actually take advantage of our ordinance fully. And maybe that's the right thing to do that night, because we also specifically directed those people to wait for that. So that would have been very disingenuous of us to say wait and then tag them all out because they're not qualifying. So however we structure this thing, I agree with all of Clay's comments. I think they're well placed, but I think we've got to acknowledge that there's two different parts of our meeting, and that we should probably look at really adjusting both of those to suit this issue.
yeah, that's a great point. So we would have to address public comments section, and then when they're addressing bills, when they're public speaking.
So are you saying keep them both within line with kind of what we're saying with this new motion, but make it clear that it's for both segments of the bill?
Yeah, that feels right to me. I mean,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I guess it all comes down to the wording because, and I don't know if we'll think of any other exceptions, but I generally agree that if we cover the immediate residents and then the business owners, we should be in pretty good shape.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
just for everyone's information, Section 275 of our code does cover some of this already. And it's only 2 lines. If you would like me to share that, I can.
yes, please.
It says, during the proper time on the agenda, taxpayers or residents of the city may speak on an item. However, if appropriate, other individuals may also be recognized by the presiding officer.
And that's the part I was talking about that deals with the individual bills or resolutions. That one is a little bit more specific than the one for the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, so Clay, I think to accomplish what you're wanting, we may want to put this on the next meeting, let everybody work out the language of the resolution, so we can bring it and address both.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think the language is, language, you're just saying it needs to be addressed in both sections.
Yeah, I think if I understand our new procedure for these kind of items, the vote tonight would essentially be to authorize the city staff to begin working on drafting language along with what Clay proposes. And then when that's ready, they would bring it back in the form of a bill, which we would look at, amend as we felt appropriate or not, and then have a second reading and finally adopt it as an ordinance.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, Kathy?
Just to get a little bit more guidance before we embark on this, when we say proof of residency, I'm trying to think of the mechanics of that, right? For the clerk's office, when people are coming in to sign up to speak, to whom are they showing that proof of residency? What type of proof are we going to require? Are you wanting defined proof, or do you want to take people's words for it when they sign in? Right? Hill, you can feel free to chime in, because this is more your...
No, I agree. I was wondering the same things. That would be important.
Show Clay.
Sorry, Mayor. As it is, they just walk up to that computer and put their name in, right? I mean, I don't know. What is it, a driver's license? Or
Yeah, that's going to open up a whole can of worms.
how's that?
I mean, if we ask for like a driver's license, because if they don't have a driver's license, but they have other proof of residency,
I think we probably need to let staff consider some of these issues rather than us as aldermen trying to resolve it. But I do agree that maybe driver's license should be considered, whether it's helpful or not. It would seem, I think the challenge you've got though is then you've got the business owners and how you identify them separately from the rest of those. I suppose ultimately we take people at their word at some point, and I think if we can improve this in general, as Alderman Cooper has proposed, I think that would be a major step forward. And maybe staff can think about ideas for this, and I know their city clerk deals with this kind of stuff all the time, so I'd leave it to her expertise.
yeah, we may have people with no driver's license but has a utility bill, right, for their property. So there's a few things to take into consideration. Clay, you okay with?
Yeah, I just want to get a feel of the board and see if they were in agreement, and then like Alderman Schultz said, let the professionals figure out the best way to make that happen.
Okay, that's
Mr.
great.
Mayor,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor,
yes, Artie.
I don't know how best to do this, but I agree with the full intent of what Clay's trying to do. And I guess maybe I'd want to see if we might want to amend that motion to include that the public comments section would be changed to the end of the meeting prior to the reports by the alderman, rather than start our meeting out with it.
Artie, I would suggest we bring that up as a separate item, because we've had some of those discussions and they gain legs by themselves. So if that's something this board wants to discuss, then let's keep that a separate item if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll withdraw my amendment.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion. Oh, this is a resolution. So we'll just ask Alderman Cooper's already asked the staff to take this back, right, and bring suggested language?
Yeah, just to clarify, approving this resolution directs staff to go write a code amendment to bring back to the board at a later date.
Okay. So then we will vote on this resolution? Okay. So, does anyone in the audience have anything to say about this? Marshall?
This is weird. Might I add that if there's any kind of, verification that somebody's got to have, whether it's their driver's license or utility bill, maybe they get entered into the system, whereas they don't have to show that every time. The other thing I would say is that if there are specific items, we have an iPad out there, which it might take a little bit of IT ingenuity, but you could scan it somehow, but maybe there's an iPad up here or something, so it's the same process across the board. Those are my only 2 cents.
Great thinking, Marshall. Thank you.
Good idea.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I believe that the most.
I'm sorry, state your name.
I'm Daniel Johnson. I think the most practical application of this would be to have, whether it be driver's license, voter registration in Taney, Stone County, et cetera, and also to have, as former Alderman Howden suggested, a registration, scan, sign it, et cetera, just an ability to be able to document people, present a driver's license, proof of residency bill. I think that all that would be encompassing language that could be included in that amendment or in that ordinance to properly encapsulate the spirit of what the ordinance is trying to propose.
Thank you, Daniel. Come on up.
So I'm a multiple business owner in the city, but what if, I want to make sure I understand what Clay is proposing. Let's say, for example, an outside developer came into the city to make a proposal for a development or something along that line, or maybe it's a consulting engineer, would they be able to speak even though they don't have a business in the city and they're not a resident in the city?
I don't know if they're talking just in general or on a specific project.
Well, it all depends on how this is drafted, right? Could it impact that?
Well, if it was on the specific bill, then they would be part of the
Okay,
presentation.
so it wouldn't touch that. It
No.
would be more just general comments.
If they were, yes.
Okay, I just wasn't sure about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I think maybe to provide clarification, maybe I'm off, maybe not, but when we had all those hours of comments, I think a lot of people felt that they could come up during public comment and speak instead of wait until the item on the agenda was available for everybody to make their comments then, and I think we need to have more clarity so that when people come for public comments, they understand if it's a public comment, it is for something that is not an agenda item. And then when there is an agenda item, then they need to wait to speak about it then. So I think that could clear a lot up if we made that clear.
Yeah, I think we have that in our code, and other than Mr. Hewells, most people abide by talking about items about a bill during the bill and not on public comment. Did you have something to say?
First of all, I did take a phone call, so I apologize if I missed anything that was already covered about this. My understanding is that you are saying during public comment only, that those that are here would have to submit some sort of proof that they are here. Is that correct? But during discussion of a bill, you don't necessarily have to present that proof of residency that you're discussing? I do really want to clarify that.
No, I mean, the bill motion would be for both sections of the ordinance.
Okay. In that case, then the gentleman that just spoke, they would absolutely be affected. If you have someone who is not a business owner but is affected by the bill being discussed, maybe it's an ordinance that's being discussed that will affect a project developer coming into the area. And so I think that definitely needs to be considered, for one. For two, the last time I stood here, I tried to be very respectful of everyone that was up here because I know that you were taking your time and it made your night very long. And I understand that. But I had one member of this board say out loud, I represent the citizens within the city limits, and I get that. Legally, that's your jurisdiction. But that throws out the fact that people who don't live within the city limits, work in Branson, pay sales taxes, even if we don't pay property taxes in Branson. Our kids go to school in Branson. What happens in Branson affects us. And of course, there are business owners from outside the city limits. I just had a gentleman the other day in Forsyth tell me how much it riles him to the core that he doesn't get a vote on anything that happens within the city limits in Forsyth because he lives outside the city limits, but his business is affected by every decision that they make. And so I really urge you to strongly consider who's affected by these bills. I so get it. Like, I understand and I respect the time that you take. I know that this is kind of a thankless job much of the time. I get that. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and ignore the needs of the people that are coming to you, that are taking their time too. I'm away from my children tonight. I'm not getting paid to be here. And I know that goes around a lot, paid protesters. I was one of them here that night. And I respect that you guys listened. I didn't feel heard by everyone, and I was very honest about that. But I just strongly consider, or urge you to consider this. Maybe you make a section early in the night for people who are residents, but those that want to stay to the end, who are not local, maybe you have a section for those people where there is a separate speaking time for non-residents. Just something so that you can still hear those voices and not shut the door on them.
Thank you.
Ma'am, before you leave, could you state your name for the record?
I'm April Hicks from Merriam Woods.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the audience?
Well, can I just say, I
Oh,
mean,
sure.
if she lives in Merriam Woods, she's in the county.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why we broadened it up to counties instead of the city limits. Yeah.
Anybody else? Oh, come on.
Yes, my name is Mike Metz, and I live in the city. Something that occurred to me, you were talking about Stone, Taney County, in, out of city, or whatever. What if you're like from Omaha, but you work in the city of Branson? You know, you're not Taney or Stone County, you're down in Arkansas. They should have some kind of provision, you know, like if you would be affected by something, you know, not everything that goes on, but, you know, a particular item that comes up, you might be affected by this. So, you know, just saying Stone or Taney County or what have you, you know, that you should have something to look into that. And going back to the ICE thing, they had people come in that were totally out of the area, but they were commenting on how something that similar actions had been was looking into being taken by us here in town that went on in their area, and they were commenting on how it affected things there, you know, just for general information.
Sure.
So I think ought to back up and really look at that, you know, before you say, well, we're not going to let this person talk or what have you for one reason or another. Have some kind of backup if you have to. Say, you know, like 3 of the aldermen say, well, let's listen to them or something. You know, if everybody thinks they should, well, then give them their 5 minutes. And I agree, you know, say everybody's got 5 minutes, you know, don't matter where you're at or where you're from. Don't have to sit here all night. 6 hours was long.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience? Seeing none, anybody, one of the dais, Clay?
Yeah, so.
I'm sorry, Glenn.
So, you know, I think good comments from people. You know, there's a lot to consider, and I think that's the challenge of this thing is, you know, it's an odd thing. When you look at state statutes, we're not even required to have either of those sessions, right? It's you know, we could sit here with no public input, and yet I think as a board, we cherish that public input to make sure we stay properly grounded and get all the issues in front of us that we need and considerations. So I think this is a delicate thing to get right. There's no question. But on the other hand, I still agree with Clay's premise when he opened this up, is that I think we've probably set it a little too far the other way, in that we need to get just a little bit more control on it. So I welcome, you know, the opportunity to see what staff can come up with, and even if it's just not even in a full bill form, if they just want to come back and say, hey, here's what we're thinking, should we proceed this way to have another round at it, I'd be good for that too. So thank you, Clay, for bringing this up.
Yep.
I have an idea.
Oh, hi.
Newbie over here. You guys are going to have to get used to looking down here. I was at the meeting, and I noticed a lot of people in the audience that I personally knew that lived here that maybe did not get an opportunity to speak because there were so many that were out of our area. And whether they would have, wouldn't have, I have no idea. But there was many here that did not get a voice that do live because I knew them, I recognized them. So maybe my suggestion would be, as staff considers this, that we put in there, possibly we start with Taney County first, and then we open it up to the broader areas. Maybe that's an idea.
Thank you, Ashley. Any other members of the board? Hillary, we're voting on this,
Yes.
and the vote is to,
To direct staff to move forward with crafting code amendments to bring back to the board at a later time.
okay, boards understand that? Okay, let's vote, and all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries. Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6663, an ordinance approving the contract with Southwest Missouri Council of Governments to administer a grant through the Homeland Security Grant Program for the Branson Police Department vehicle barriers and authorizing the mayor to execute the documents related thereto.
So you've heard the first reading of Bill 6663. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Staff report from Chief Schmidt.
Your Honor, members of the board, thank you. This is one of those situations where we fell under a lucky star, and we had applied for a grant, and although we were approved, it wasn't funded because there wasn't enough money at the time. However, through savings on the other grant projects, they reached out to us and advised us they had enough money to buy us another set of barricades. That's made us have to rush because we have to get that spent by the end of the month. However, these are the same barricades that we have been adding for all the parades and for the upcoming hog rally. This set will allow us to have enough to complete our closure plan much safer than if we didn't have them. So obviously, we are recommending approval of this, and I'm sorry, but it is a double read because we have to get them ordered tomorrow.
Okay. Well, let's try to get it approved. Any aldermen have any questions? Anybody in the audience have any questions, comments? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries.
Your Honor, I move to read Bill number 6663 for its final reading due to time constraint.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any members of the board wishing to speak regarding this matter? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, would you please provide the introduction for this item?
Your Honor, this is the final reading of Bill Number 6663, an ordinance approving the contract with Southwest Missouri Council of Governments to administer a grant through the Homeland Security Grant Program for Branson Police Department vehicle barriers and authorizing the mayor to execute the documents related thereto.
You've heard the final reading of Bill number 6663. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Members of the board wishing to speak to this? By the audience wishing to speak? Hearing none, final read. So Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Harkness,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Denham,
Yes.
Scholes,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries. Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6664, an ordinance approving the intergovernmental agreement with the Taney County Sheriff's Department for memorandum of understanding for dual commission of the K-9 unit for interdiction of operations between Branson Police Department and Taney County Sheriff's Office and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
You've heard the first reading of Bill 6664. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Staff report from Chief Schmidt.
Your Honor, members of the board, thank you. This is a situation where, through our partnerships with the federal agencies and COMET Drug Task Force, we know how the drugs are flowing to get into our community. We simply have 2 drug dogs, and the county has 1. And so the county can't be on all the time. So this is an agreement to basically deputize our K-9 officers to be able to do drug interdiction along all of 65 within Taney County and any other routes that the sheriff deems necessary as different routes change because we're hammering 65. So it allows us to, the same drugs that affect the county obviously affect us, and it is beneficial for all the residents of the entire region if we can get those drugs before they hit the streets. And so we recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries. Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6665, an ordinance approving the contract with Peacemaker Technologies for hardware, software subscription and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
You've heard the first reading of Bill 6665. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have motion is second. Staff report from Chief Schmidt.
Your Honor, members of the board, thank you. This is another one that is time sensitive because it is the Blue Shield grant, which is up in June. Now, this wasn't a situation where the money was delayed. It was a situation where the AI industry has made the chips hard to get to the point that we had, it took us a while to get the contract through because we didn't know what computers they were going to be able to give us. They have gotten their chips. They actually have 5 ready to ship to us immediately as soon as we can approve this agreement, and we will be reimbursed the $50,000 from the state for the Blue Shield grant. If you guys remember, I don't know if the new ones paid attention, but this was the one where we ordered the laptops so that we can get a laptop in the hands of every officer instead of having them hot seat them in the cars. Tend to last longer, and we can do more. We can take them out with us on calls and actually do a lot more with them. So we're excited about being able to get all of these computers in those officers' hands. We do recommend approval.
Thanks, Chief. Any aldermen have any questions or comments for the chief? Alex?
One, sir. Chief, I do recall you were at the leading edge of this program. You were chomping at the bit, and I do recall seeing pictures of you with the governor just leading the charge. So kudos to you again for spearheading that and setting an example for the state.
Yep. Thank you, and I am excited to say we just got our second year's Blue Shield designation. So,
Very nice. Any other aldermen? Questions, comments? Anybody from the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries.
Oh, look at here. Your Honor, I move to read Bill number 6665 for its final reading due to timing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have motion and a second. Any members of the board wishing to speak regarding this matter? Anybody in the audience? We're voting to approve a second read. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries.
So Madam Clerk, would you please provide the introduction for this item?
Your Honor, this is a final reading of Bill number 6665, an ordinance approving the contract with Peacemaker Technologies for hardware and software subscription and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
So you've heard the final reading of Bill 6665. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
So, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any members of the board wishing to speak to this? Any members in the audience? Hearing none, it's a final read. Hillary, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Harkness?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill number 6666, an ordinance approving the contract with Quadient Leasing for postage meter rental and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
You've heard the first reading of Bill number 6666. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to second with staff report from Allison. Hello, Allison.
Hello, good evening. This is a 16-month lease agreement for the city's mail machine with Quadient Leasing. This product is used by all departments to mail and ship items. Are there any questions?
I love how she just gets to the point, man.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
you didn't say, but I assume this is within the existing budget?
Yes, this is within the existing budget, and it costs us about $2,700 annually. $2,700.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none. Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries. Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill number 6667, an ordinance approving the waiver of building permit fees for certain low-income housing projects to address an immediate need for more low-income housing.
You've heard the first reading of Bill 6667. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have motion and a second. We'll get a staff report from Amanda. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Mayor, Board. Thanks for your time this evening. As you may recall, some of you, back in September of 2025, Bill 6594 was passed. It was basically what I'm presenting tonight. We're just extending that to the 2026 year. So this ordinance supports affordable housing developments by temporarily waiving building permit fees for qualifying low-income housing projects. Specifically, it targets projects utilizing the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit, which is known as LIHTC program. This leverages federal funding and private investment to reduce reliance in local taxpayer dollars. The waiver is capped at $50,000 per project and applies to projects submitted in the calendar year of 2026 and that are awarded the tax credit. This is designed as a targeted short-term incentive to address the city's immediate need for the more affordable housing options. And the ordinance includes a sunset provision allowing the board to reevaluate effectiveness before considering any extension or changes. Some important context to keep in mind is this ordinance, we originally approved, not this ordinance, but Bill 6594 in 2025. Today's actions update the ordinance and reflect the 2026 program year. And as I said before, the sunset would be on December 31, 2027. This approach ensures the city is being fiscally responsible while still acting as a proactive partner in addressing our housing needs. With that, I would ask for approval.
Any aldermen have any questions? Glenn?
Yeah, first I want to say thank you for bringing this forward. I think this is absolutely essential if we're going to get after the housing issues in the city and get people out of those disgusting long-term hotel situations. So thank you for doing that. Do we have any LIHTC projects on the cusp that this would apply to, or are we just being proactive?
No, we do. The Cedar Ridge phases were part of the LIHTC. And actually, after this, the next bill that I'll be presenting is Cherryville, I believe, Cedar Ridge East. So I'm going to ask for a double read tonight because they are applying, and you'll get a chance to talk to them about their project on the next item on the agenda.
Any other board members? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak?
Yeah, Brian Stallings. I'm just curious, are we going to make an amendment that these fees are reimbursed once occupancy permits are obtained?
Was that what we had in the first one?
We have a couple of these out there, and I know that Ruth had voted or brought it to the board to indicate that once a certificate of occupancy was established, that would be part of the criteria on receiving the funds.
And that's not incorporated in this version of the bill, or is it?
It should,
Or we can remove the one from the nonprofit one. I just think this needs to be crossed.
Message delivered.
Thank you.
yeah. This particular one does not have that language in it. But we recommend any changes that you'd like to make.
Wouldn't we want to put that same language in that was in last year's? Well, it wasn't.
No, that was a different incentive.
The only thing this bill brought before you tonight changed from last year's ordinance was the year.
Yes, correct.
Right? And so that's what we did, but certainly if you want to make an amendment to do it based on level playing field, like what Brian brought up, that's great, it's your purview.
So I'd be open to a motion if anybody has an interest.
I move to make an amendment to this requiring the same as, right, the nonprofit one that we put through.
Bill, did you get that? Do you think that's specific enough?
To match the ordinance, I amended it where they have to get a certificate of occupancy before the funds would be available.
So we can certainly try and draft something up, but it might be better to come back and have you guys see the actual language that we do after we do it, just so that all the dots line up.
And it is displayed on.
But they are asking for a double read, right?
Yeah, we're needing to get this done, Solomon.
So this is the ordinance.
There-
If we could make more specific.
There's another
changes.
ordinance out there with that language. It'll take me a minute to locate it.
Thank you.
We just add a sentence to the end of section 1 that says these fees shall be reimbursed upon obtaining an occupancy permit. Would that satisfy people? Ruth, would that satisfy you? I move that if that does.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but I think that we should be more specific and make it exactly the same verbiage as the other, so that we can be fair straight across the board.
When you say, Ruth, when you say the other, oh, the language in the low-income housing.
Yes.
Yes.
So the language that, like what Glenn proposed, would probably be okay. The ordinances are different. One's LIHTC, one's CBDG, right? So we wouldn't want them to be exactly the same, but I think that what Glenn is proposing would accomplish
Okay.
the
I'm
objective.
fine with what
Then I'll make
Glenn's
that a
proposed.
motion.
Second.
And Alderman Schultz, would you mind repeating the motion?
Yeah, at the end of section 1, it would read, these waivers would be reimbursable upon obtaining an occupancy permit.
Chad, would you scroll down to section 1, please? Okay, any aldermen have any questions on that? So that was a motion and a second. So we're going to vote on this, this amendment. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The vote is 5-0.
Should be 6-0.
Clay cast? Clay was out.
I apologize. 5-0.
5-0. Okay. So now we have this bill as amended. Any other questions or comments from the alderman? Questions, comments from the audience?
I'm Julie Metz. I live in Lake Taneycomo Acres in Branson. I'd like to know what's going to qualify as affordable housing, because you've approved 3 housing development things in the last several months, and only one of them was affordable, and that's for older citizens. The other 2 are not affordable for most of the residents of Branson that work here. That's why they're renting in these disgusting motels. I've known people that have lived there. I've known people that have worked 2 or 3 jobs in Branson and can't afford to rent. And I'm sorry, but $750 a month to $1,000 a month is not affordable for the wages that are paid in Branson. They're just not. Teachers can't afford that pay. I don't know what they pay the police anymore, but at the time that I worked with the police didn't make a whole lot more than the teachers did. So I don't know if they'd be able to afford it now. I'd like to know what's going to qualify as an affordable housing.
My understanding is both these projects are, these are state grants, state and federal, and the state and federal have guidelines of what the income requirements must be to be able to rent in these units. So they set the rents, the income amounts and the rents, basically.
The state sets the rents on these places?
The developer would set the rents, but they're governed by the state and the federal government. We don't set those.
Well, I know you don't. I'm just wondering what this bill is going to set affordable housing at.
This bill is for any properties that qualify for LIHTC funding.
Okay. Well, the 2 properties that you approved last year, they don't qualify as affordable housing around here. I'm sorry. Most people don't make enough to pay $1,000 a month rent. They just don't.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions from the audience?
Just one thing, sorry, my name's April Hicks, I'm from Merriam Woods. I'm curious where the funds are being reimbursed from, if we collect the funds for these. Right now, I don't know if you guys have looked at the state budget. There is no new money going to these low-income housing projects. So if these low-income housing projects are approved, and I've lived in them, she said she has known people. I have worked 3 jobs, slept in my car between shifts while living out of one of those hotels. And if hard work got you there, I'd be very wealthy. But what I have noticed is that the funds to reimburse these low-income housing projects are not there. So we're going to, as a city, approve the project. We're going to say we're going to waive your fee because the project is for low-income housing, but then suddenly the money's not there for the state reimbursement. And not that I'm opposed to these waivers. We do need affordable housing. I'm not opposing that at all. But I want to know if there's any consideration for what's going to happen when that money dries up and the housing can no longer be reimbursed to make it affordable.
We have your answer here.
Yes, ma'am. The project would only be eligible for those reimbursements of the fees if they are granted the funding. And then with the now amendment that was added saying that it's the property actually has to be built, right, and receive a certificate of occupancy before then they could apply to get that permit waive or permit fee back reimbursed. So if the state runs dry, then there is no project that gets built and you don't
So
have to
there's
worry
not
about that.
a longevity like where you have to keep your rates set for a certain period of time.
They've got all different kinds of requirements. LIHTC has different ones versus CDBG grants, and even CDBG grants have different requirements based on what the grant is and which department it's coming from. So there's all kinds of strings attached, and builders and developers of these types of properties have to quantify and qualify back to the authorities to make sure that they're within those guidelines. So
Okay.
we've got lots of eyes on it.
Awesome.
And these, excuse me, and these fees that we're talking about, they would be reimbursed by the city of Branson.
Yeah.
They would not be relying on state or federal government.
I just hate the idea of putting the Branson taxpayers on the hook for something that the state has committed to, and then they're going to yank that funding. And they are. We've seen them do it. They have $0 allocated for low-income housing this year. Nothing. And so, having lived in these apartments, I lived at Lost Tree in 2 different apartments. The builders, when the first set went in down the hill, did great. And then they slapped together some junk at the top of the hill, and I could hear my neighbor's microwave beep through my bedroom door, or through my bedroom wall. They offer these great move-in specials. And then the next year, everything changes. And so what my fear is that they will build it, they'll say it's low income, they'll offer great move-in specials, they get their certificate of occupancy, they get their waiver, their money is reimbursed, and they move on to the next thing and have no problem with it hiking the next year. And many of you who own businesses in here know what your people that work for you are dealing with. I'm just concerned, not that you guys are doing anything wrong. I think waivers are a great incentive. I'm concerned that it's too short-term, that they're, even with the occupancy, which I absolutely think that's a fantastic idea.
Thank you.
That's a great point, because, I mean, I think what I hear you saying is that you want them to keep that standard going past that first complex.
Well, the
and-
same apartment I rented for
do.
$400 a month is now going for $1,100, and they don't have a working pool, and they have drugs coming in and out. They didn't make any improvements. They've got roaches and, bed bugs all over the apartments there. I'm glad I'm out. God was really good to me, and my mortgage is about $400 a month because I found a foreclosure on a McDonald's salary. I'm blessed. Not everybody has that opportunity in front of them. And so, I've watched these rates skyrocket. Low-income housing that I rented for $375 in the bigger apartment is now, for $575 in the bigger apartment is now $1,200 a month. And the pay hasn't gone up that much.
Mr. Mayor, my comment in looking at this bill would be, the LIHTC program is a multi-year requirement on the developers. They can't just step into it for the first year and then back away. So I'm comfortable that from our perspective, from what the city is able to control, that once they get approved and funding as LIHTC, that they're locked in for multiple years. So our investment in it, I think, is genuine with this $50,000 rebate on fees that have been paid to the city. And I think it's a good incentive for these developers who are generally running on a tight budget anyhow. And some of the things that are cited, if they can spend the money on the development instead of on fees with the city, I think that would be a good consideration.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone in the audience? Hearing none, we ready to vote?
On the bill as amended.
As on the bill as amended. So we're voting on the bill as amended. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries.
Your Honor, I move to read Bill 6667 for its final reading due to time.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any members of the board wishing to speak regarding this matter? Anybody in the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, would you please provide the introduction for this item?
Your Honor, this is a final reading of Bill number 6667, an ordinance approving the waiver of building permit fees for certain low-income housing projects to address an immediate need for more low-income housing.
You've heard the final reading of Bill number 6667. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any members of the board wishing to speak regarding this matter? Any members of the audience? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Harkness?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
Scholes?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries. Your Honor, the next item is a resolution of support for an affordable housing project known as Cedar Ridge located at 211 Rohana Way, Branson, Missouri, 65616, and the submission of an application for low-income housing tax credits.
Do I have a motion adopting this resolution?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll get a staff report from Amanda.
Thank you. Before you tonight is a resolution of support for Cedar Ridge East Phase 2. It's an affordable housing project proposed at 211 Rohana Way. The development builds on the success of the existing Cedar Ridge apartments and represents an important step in expanding housing opportunities within our community. As you know, there is a continued and growing need for quality, attainable, and low-income housing in Branson, and projects like this play a critical role in helping meet the demand while supporting our workforce and community stability. This resolution provides the city's support as the developer pursues low-income housing tax credits to assist with financing the project. I do believe we have the applicant Riley Shantz on the line.
Just give us
We
one
might need
moment
just a
here.
second.
He left me all by myself. They both left, and I don't know how to do it.
Riley should be attending with us virtually tonight, and he'd like to address the board and provide some additional details on the proposed development. And
Riley, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Riley, are you able to share your screen, or do you need me to run the PowerPoint?
I might need you to. I can't. I don't think I can actually. I thought I'd be able to figure it out, but it looks like I don't see any buttons to do it.
Okay, just let me know.
If you can go to the next one, I think that'd be good, and I'll just address a couple of the comments that got made previously.
Sure. The floor is yours.
So, just in general, a couple questions raised about the LIHTC program. It's been around since the late 1980s. Very sustainable program. The whole premise of it is based off of the allocation of federal and in Missouri's case, also state tax credits. and it's solely based on the population of the state. A couple years ago, maybe a year ago, Congress passed an increase in that percentage of credits per population. So the program is actually grown in terms of credit resources. In general, for Missouri, roughly 100-ish applications get submitted on an annual basis. It's one application cycle. About 20 to 30 of those get approved, give or take. The program is a supply side lever, meaning it would be impossible for us to, as market actors to partner and build new construction housing at affordable rents. So what the credits allow us to do is have new construction housing that we have little debt to service, and in turn we can charge fewer rents. In terms of the long-term nature of the program, when we construct these developments, we sign up to a minimum 30-year LURA, which is the land use restriction agreement. That is the rents are capped by the federal government, and it's based off of the area median income in the markets that we build these projects in. And then furthermore, MHDC, which is the Missouri Housing Development Commission, they also have pretty heavy asset management, and they look at how you're operating, how the market's doing, CPI inflation, and they approve rent increases. Typically, that's in the realm of 3-ish%. During COVID, it got up to as high as 7% in some cases, but generally it's kind of the 2 to 4% realm. And we can go to the next slide if you want. But in general, getting to this deal in specific, we came before the board last summer to propose this project. This would be our 4th project in Branson. The project's a total of 48 units. Of those, we'll have a handful, 2 to 3 market rate units. The rest will be affordable, predominantly for individuals at 60% of the area median income. And what that looks like is rents between $400 and really a high $700 rent. The location of the project it's adjacent to Cedar Ridge Phase 1, which to orientate yourself on this 3rd slide, that is we're just north of Cedar Ridge Elementary School, south of AutoZone on Highway 248. I believe it's a good location, close to infrastructure, grocery, amenities for residents. If you go to the next slides, you'll see building elevation and site plan. Those aren't the fanciest, and we'll see some finished product pictures towards the end here. Amanda, if you want to skip to really slide 8, kind of our last slide, just to show what we've done. This is pictures of Cedar Ridge Apartments Phase 1, Fall Creek Townhomes, which is off Gulfview Drive, and Bluffview Apartments. We've built all 3 of these in the last 5 years in Branson. An anecdote that I think is important to know, we develop in other places. We're based in Springfield. We develop in Tulsa proper, Tulsa Metro, Kansas City. Branson by far has had the most significant demand. Cedar Ridge Apartments, we even note, it was fully leased in 1 week. We turned the building over, did our punch. I think our management did, minimal marketing effort, and obviously we have new construction at an affordable rental range, and we filled up all 48 units in 1 week. That is not typical for most markets. In Tulsa, you typically see 2 to 3 months of per lease up schedule. That's a much bigger market, obviously, but it just goes to show the demand in Branson, and I think it's important to highlight that. Overall, and the reason what we're asking for resolution support. That's important for several reasons. The main of which is we need to show MHDC when we submit our application that this is something that the municipality has skin in the game. They support it. They want it because they have limited resources, and they're allocating to Kansas City, St. Louis, and then outstate Missouri, of which Branson competes. And then the waiver of fees, just to address that too. I think over the 3 projects that we've completed prior, the average fee range per project. It's about $70,000 to $80,000 or more is probably conservative. So the city's still getting some fee income from the projects despite the $50,000 waiver, which I think is important to note. But the reason the request is meaningful, and we're very appreciative of you guys passing it, is it's a further lever to show the agency that Branson needs and wants this type of housing. And we are in a competition with the rest of the state. We do our best efforts to show the demand with our lease up of prior projects and the waiting list that we've had. But the fee waiver is meaningful, and I think it really helps. So that's a general overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that, Riley. Any board member have any questions for Amanda or Riley? Glenn?
Not a question, but I just want to comment on what he said about fully leased in 1 week. We've looked at the Taney County Partnership data about housing for this area for a couple of years. And I think if there's ever a validation of the need for housing in this city, when you can rent out 48 units in 1 week, it says we've got a long ways to go. But I appreciate the efforts by this group to help improve that situation in Branson, and I think our citizens are fully supportive of this activity as well.
Thank you, Glenn. And that's exactly why we're doing the $50,000 reimbursement, is to encourage more of this development. Clay?
Riley, Alderman Cooper here. My wife and I have an employee that works for us that is living in phase 1, and when she got the word that she qualified for that place, it was like a load had been lifted off of her. She's had a rough time. She's been living in extended stays, and the folks there were great to work with. My wife talked to them many times, getting them pay stubs and all the paperwork needed for her to be able to get in this place, and it's just given her a sense of worth and pride. And I mean, she literally cried to my wife when she found out she got in there. So these are important complexes to have in our area, and it really does mean something to them other than just a place to lay down at night. It's getting them back on their feet and giving them something to build and go in the right direction. So thank you for that.
Well said.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Any other aldermen? Any questions, comments from the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Result of the vote is 6-0. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Thank you, Riley.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the next item is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen consenting to the mayor's appointments to the Board of Directors of the Grand Country Resort Community Improvement District.
Do I have a motion adopting this resolution?
Point of order.
Yes.
Never mind. Proceed. I'm sorry. I'm zoned out. Just continue on.
Preview for what's to come. So do I have a motion adopting this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion, a second. We'll get a staff report from Hillary.
Yeah, so this SID was established during the March 10th meeting. In the original SID petition, there were 3 members appointed, which were Glenn Robinson, Kathy Maggard, and Deborah Robinson. The petition also left 2 openings for representatives who are not relatives or have financial interest within the SID district, and those are per the qualifications of RSMO 67-1451. The representatives also must live within the city limits and be registered to vote. So the board previously appointed Kathy Stepp to fill one of these roles and are now in need of appointing the other board member. Kathy Maggard, in addition, has since resigned, and her position is needing to be filled, her unexpired term. So this resolution before you will formally appoint Marshall Howden as the other representative for that RSMO 67, and it will appoint Jennifer Robinson to fill the unexpired term of Kathy Maggard. So we do have a representative from the SID on the line, should you have any more technical questions regarding this item.
So does the board have any questions or comments? Is there any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries. Your Honor, the next item is appointments. The appointment process is in accordance with the board and committee appointment procedure for Category 5 appointments made by the mayor with approval of the Board of Aldermen. Mayor, please announce your appointments to be voted on.
There's two appointments under the, to be city directors on this SID, and there's two appointments for city stakeholders to be on this SID. So the motion, the names I'm putting up is for the city. The two members on the city would be myself, Larry Milton, and Kathy Stepp, represented on the be city directors. And the two names I'm putting up for the stakeholder directors would be Matt Grocock and Patrick Haygood. So do I have a motion to approve the appointments for the city directors and the city stakeholders as presented?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? Glenn?
Yeah. First, I just want to say, from my perspective, it would be helpful when we have nominations if they'd be printed in the materials to the aldermen for consideration in advance of the meeting. But with that being said, two thoughts here. So we're doing this as one motion. It was printed as two separate motions. But from the city perspective, we have Alex Gerard also serving on that board, if I'm not mistaken, with a continuing term. Yes. I think it would be good for the city to expand this to other resources rather than all administration-based. I would personally like to see the two aldermen, or aldermen from the two wards that span the project be on this board. I think we'd get a broader perspective, especially as we move into implementation phase on these next two phases. I think it would be helpful in terms of communicating with their constituents, dealing with the issues of the project, and so on. And then I guess I'll comment on the stakeholder appointments. I mean, the project is ready to go to bond and bid. I mean, I've attended all these meetings for the last couple of years, save one or two, and I'm concerned that now we're at a point where we're ready to pull the trigger. All the prep work has been done, and now it's time to execute, and then we change the two primary officers of the board. It seems like bad timing to me to be doing those kind of changes at such a critical point in the project.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments from the board?
I mean, I'm just getting my bearings here, but I didn't see these names when I was looking through the stuff, so I don't know what to do about that, but I had no time to think about it or research it.
Matt Grocock owns 5 properties in phases 2 and 3. Excuse me, phases 1 and 2. He's on many boards in the community, highly respected, and somebody that has ownership interest in 5 of those properties that are within this development that we're currently getting ready to approve, I think has a lot of skin in the game, and I think he would be a great addition to the board. Patrick Haygood, we're all familiar with the Haygoods. I don't know if you know Patrick.
Built his house.
Then you know Patrick. So then go on your character of how you feel he would be. I think Patrick in the Haygoods is highly respected in our community. I think Patrick will provide one element that might have been lacking just a little bit is on the creative side and the artistic side of some of our above ground amenities. So I know Clay mentioned that when segment 3 was done, he was hoping that there might have been more amenities in front of his business or anywhere along segment 3. So I was trying to get some more value on the creative, artistic side, and be sensitive to somebody who has skin in the game with owning 5 properties in that same area.
So the other 2 that are coming off, is my understanding.
Yes.
And do they want to stay on the board?
Yes, they've indicated they want to stay on the board. Any other questions from the board?
Mayor, just as a follow-up again, I'm of the mind that to preside over Ward 1 and Highway 76, it's very important. You know, there are landowners, and that is very important, but there's also other folks along the corridor that are impacted by that. There's a timeline there. This project should have started already, and it hasn't for a variety of reasons. And so I think it's important that since we are so close and that this was a surprise to quite a few people up here, that the full transparency of preparing for that, I'm going to be in support of the same mindset that we shouldn't be shaking this up right now.
Okay.
Can I ask Glenn, what are you, or with your statement, what are you suggesting, Glenn?
Well, procedurally, it's the mayor's job to
Yeah,
bring
can't do that.
nominees.
Understand what he was trying to,
What his concerns are.
yeah, not who he is suggesting, but.
Yeah, and let me clarify, I have the utmost respect for all the applicants for this position. So this isn't a comment about applicants per se, but I look at how this board is functioning, where it is in the project, and what has to happen, and that's what my judgment's based on. Procedurally, I mean, it's very clear, the mayor has to present the candidates for us to vote on. But I would just request that there should be.
In Kathy's recommendation, and then a new vote for the other 2. So what's happening?
That was just the suggested script. The motion on the floor was different than that, so.
So Hillary had the suggested script, and as the mayor, I have the prerogative to change it, yeah. So, sounds like we're at an impasse. So, I say we table this to the April 28th board meeting and pick it back up.
Yeah, I would make a motion to postpone this agenda item to the 28th.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Next is our report section, and we'll start with Alderman Harkness.
Way to throw me to the fire. I am prepared, though. Okay. First, I do want to say it is an honor, an incredible honor, to represent Ward 3. Over the past several months, I've had the privilege of knocking on doors across the ward, meeting so many of you face to face. Those conversations mattered. I heard you loud, and I heard you clear. I heard about roads that need attention, concerns about speeding through neighborhoods, the need for dry fire hydrants and basic infrastructure, and the everyday things that affect the safety and quality of life for families. And as developers build, the impact on your neighborhoods absolutely will be considered. Your voices came with me to this seat, and they will continue to guide me in the work that I do here. My responsibility, however, does not stop just at Ward 3. I'm here to serve all the citizens of Branson, and I want our residents to know something very, very clear. Your voice will always have a place with me. If something matters to our community, you can expect me to be a consistent, sometimes admittedly persistent advocate for it. One area One area that I will continue to champion because you, as citizens, have requested it, is expanding and strengthening our trail system and asking why we don't have splash pads added to them. I also plan to be intentional about taking real steps towards an indoor aquatic facility. This is not just about recreation, it is about investing in quality of life for our residents, while also creating year-round opportunities that support tourism and keep Branson vibrant, even in the colder months. Looking ahead, I would like to see clear infrastructure prioritization plan and a capital plan. This will help us guide how we invest in our future. Most of this work may already be in motion, and I do look forward to learning from the departments and for aiding in and putting this as a top priority. To our business community, including our builders, our developers, and our lodging partners, I want you to know that I'm committed to taking a thoughtful look at our planning and development processes. Zoning classifications, permitting procedures, and customer service within the city are very important topics, and I believe taking a deep dive into those areas will help ensure our processes are clear, efficient, and supportive of responsible growth. I also want to take an intentional look at the Highway 76 CID and how we can remove unnecessary delays. That corridor is the backbone of Branson's economy. When it moves forward, our entire community benefits, and there should be no unnecessary delays from us, the city. To our downtown CID, please know that you have a partner at the table. Downtown Branson is part of our history and our identity. I'm committed to working with you so that you are set up for success at every turn. You're smart, you're wise, and you're capable of managing your CID as you and your business owners and operators see fit. The city needs to not be in your way and to let you do what you do well, and I will be a voice for your growth and your independence. To our shows, our theaters, our attractions, and our tourism partners, you are the heartbeat of Branson. Your success is our success. I want to see our marketing dollars used strategically and effectively to continue supporting the industry that built this town. I also look forward to continuing a strong working relationship with the Chamber and Convention and Visitors Bureau, because when our organizations work together, our entire community is going to move forward. To our fire and our police departments, I am in full support of your needs, and I will always advocate that you have everything that you need to continue keeping us all safe. Thank you for the service that you provide and for taking care of us. But above all, I want every resident, every business owner, and every neighborhood in Branson to know this, that you do have a voice with me. No matter where you live or what industry you represent, your concerns will be heard. I've actually received a new phone number from the city for this very reason. So my new phone number, I'm going to give it to you. It's 417-559-7910, but I have been instructed it won't work until tomorrow. Public service is exactly that, service. It has always been something I take seriously. This is the community that raised me, and now I have the privilege of helping serve it. I'm excited for the work ahead, and I'm committed to doing everything I can to help Branson move into its brightest days yet. Creating a community where our businesses thrive, our neighborhoods are strong, and where the next generation, including my own daughter, can grow up proud to call this place home. Thank you so very much for trusting me with this important position and for voting Ashley. You will not be disappointed.
All right, thank you. Artie?
I'm good.
Clay?
I'll pass, Mayor.
Ruth?
Yes, as everyone's aware, or most of us are aware, Dean Dutton passed. They are our neighbors. They live around the corner and very special people. So I just ask that everybody keeps Sheila and her family in their prayers as she goes through this difficult time.
Thank you, Ruth. Glenn?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I didn't comment during the outgoing alderman ceremonies, but I just want to offer some thoughts for the people, the citizens, the business owners that kind of watch this whole process and watch it play out. I think You see us sitting up here at the dais and trying to make the right decisions on behalf of the city and moving the city forward. And obviously, we don't always agree, but I think the thing that may not be apparent to the general public is the tremendous amount of work and dedication that every alderman puts into this job. It's nearly volunteer. I think the $20 a month is ceremonial at best. And so these aldermen put in a tremendous amount of time in the various committees, meeting with directors, meeting with city staff, all the different meetings that go on. And I just, after elections, it feels like that may not be appreciated at times. And I just want to say thank you to the outgoing aldermen for their dedicated service to the city. I think we as aldermen especially recognize that more than the average citizen would appreciate your service. So thank you to both of you. I also want to congratulate our 2 new aldermen. It's going to be an honor for me to serve with them, and I'm looking forward to our new legislative session of this board. Just to kind of put the election behind us and put some numbers to it, as you know, I love digging into numbers. In Ward 1, 7% of the voters turned out for voting in Ward 1. In Ward 2, 10% of the voters showed up, which really surprised me in my ward. I expected lower turnout given the non-contested situation. And then in Ward 3, 21% of the voters turned out, which I believe is a near-term record. I looked back up through COVID and couldn't find anything close to that. So I applaud both campaigns for getting out there, energizing the voters, and getting them out to the polls. I know not all the people won the way they wanted to, but nonetheless, that's quite a record. And if we could achieve that in our other wards on a regular basis, we'd really move Branson forward. It's always disappointing to me as an alderman when you think that only 10% of your voters got out there and voted for you. And yet when I saw that turnout, I was amazed. So our overall number was still pretty good compared to the surrounding areas. We had 12% of registered voters overall come out across the 3 wards, so that's great. One thing I've noticed in the last week or so is my phone calls, my emails, people stopping me in the street, in the business meetings that we go to as aldermen. There is genuine energy and excitement in the city for what this board has in front of it. They are looking forward to this legislative session, which is very energizing for me sitting on this board. Some comments that were made by one of the public speakers today, I don't think we should ignore. This issue of somebody circulating a petition to bring the state auditor to look in at issues is not good for Branson. From my perspective, I've asked 3 times now for a report on the details of the tourism fund. Consider this my 4th request for that accounting. I think we've really got to get ahead of this issue with the petition. And I'd like to suggest that we set up a study session in the very near future where city staff reviews the 2 issues in question for the board so that everybody can be satisfied and the public can see the transparent approach to describing where we are with those issues. And hopefully we can then contain this within the city of Branson. I attended the airport board this morning that I'm assigned to. The first quarter of their 2026 is a very healthy improvement to the bottom line, and it has nothing to do with all these crazy fuel price increases. Board was made aware of a very exciting development that, if successfully concluded, will be announced at the next month or 2 from the board, so stay tuned from that. They've got some great things coming. With the changes here, I also just want to say thank you to Alderman Cooper. We've had presidents for this board for quite a long time, and I don't think there's an alderman that had to serve in that role any more than Alderman Cooper did. And I just want to thank him for the great service to our board. Fantastic job. And hopefully we don't have to repeat that scenario anytime soon, that most presidents will sit there with little to do in their fancy new titles. So, but thank you, Alderman Cooper. I sincerely appreciate it. And I congratulate our acting president, Williams, on his new role on the board as well. Had an interesting conversation with a new resident in Springfield that was booking tickets to a Branson attraction through a very popular online booking site. He was chastising me for the high taxes in Branson, is the way the conversation started. What I found out was that he was trying to buy a ticket that was, when you buy it direct, is $17.95. And when you add the Branson tax to it, it was $19.03. But what he was being charged for the ticket was $18.96, so $1 more for the ticket, plus $11.39 in taxes and fees for a total of $30.35, more than $11 higher than what the actual ticket was. I would suggest to our aldermen that if the Dillon rule allows it, that we should consider an ordinance that prohibits any reseller of anything in this city to have a combined tax and service line, that we require that they be displayed as separate lines so that it's clear to the buyer what they're paying for, and so that they can raise the questions when they're appropriate. So I know we've got a lot on our agenda, but it's maybe something we can do our research on and consider in a future meeting. And then finally, the prayer breakfast in Branson is scheduled for May 7th at 6 a.m. at the Convention Center. I invite our aldermen, mayor, and city administrator, and city clerk to join me at my table at that event, 6 o'clock on May 7th. 6, yeah, a.m.
That's
dark.
morning?
AM. Yeah, morning. 0600, yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's so everybody can get to work after the event. So that's my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Kathy? Oh, I'm sorry. Alex?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to begin with thank yous. I think that's appropriate. There's a lot of people here that have poured into me, literally and physically. So I'm grateful for my wife and kids, first and foremost. They were here. My wife's doing what she does best. She's at home tucking 4 kids under 8 years old into bed, 2 in diapers, 2 in double sports at the Recplex. So kudos to Katie Williams for being the stringer of the beads and the person that turns the gears. Right beyond that's my parents, Kathy and James, sitting out in the audience there. Thank you for being great parents and great role models. I'm not going to miss the opportunity to say thank you for just being good human beings and taking the time to care about me so that I can take care of other people. Mentors at College of the Ozarks, my former employer, the Missouri Army National Guard, folks that are seated up here at the dais, throughout the room, and in this community, thank you. There's many more, and I'm grateful for all of you. I began this race with one simple reason, and I said it a lot during the campaign. I love Branson, and I explained a lot about what that meant. Part of that is understanding I had the opportunity for the 3rd time tonight to take a constitutional oath. The first time I did it was as an Army officer, where I flew the UH-60 for the Missouri Army National Guard and deployed to combat over a 9-year period. The second time was as a Branson School Board member, where I still have the pleasure to serve and honor our community by honoring our kids. And then just now, as a representative of the city of Branson, the 3rd time, so I take it very serious. I'm not new to the city. I first joined as a Hollister resident, advocating as a Branson business owner on the Finance Committee in 2023, where then I had some other opportunities, the TCED, the TIF Commission, and as I'd already mentioned, the school board representing Branson. It's a huge blessing and it's a huge responsibility that I take very seriously, and I will give you my best. You get all of me or none of me, which I know can be quite a bit for some people, knowing how I ran an unopposed race, but that's how I do business. I had the pleasure to attend the annual chamber luncheon today as an alderman-elect at the time, and it was a huge, huge, booming success. It's America 250, red, white, and blue. We're full steam ahead. and we do it best in Branson. So I'm very grateful for the Chamber and CVB, where I have watched them do a great job as a TCED board member. I also would like to advocate, because this is a big deal for me, and a priority is our community plan rewrite is something that's ongoing right now. I'm eagerly awaiting as we continue to move about the cabin on how we're going to execute that document, because a lot of these decisions need to be driven in a strategic fashion. I would rather plan effectively and minimize the reacting to contact as much as humanly possible, especially since we have community stakeholders, staff members, and elected officials that are well qualified to execute the task. And then finally, for my report, flag initiative. As a former instructor of patriotic education at College of the Ozarks for 5 years, I taught flag study, American government and civics. It's near and dear to me to take on something that I promised as a candidate, and that's restoring the awareness of the city government, local business owners, and residents on the care for our flag, because that greatly matters to me. I fought for that flag. Other people have fought and died for that flag, and so that's the reason behind the initiative. So I look forward to doing my part in helping get that done. In closing, to my team up here, out in the audience, the professionals that do it every single day, I'm ready to partner with all of you as one team taking care of the city of Branson, because we all love Branson. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. Now Kathy. Oh, I'm so, no, already passed. Yeah. I mean, he didn't pass.
No, Artie
He
did
had-
not pass.
He had no report.
That's right. Oh,
My
goodness.
dear, my goodness.
Thank you, Mayor, very much. The only thing I just want to say is just how full my heart is tonight from the celebration of our community coming together. A warm and sincere welcome to Miss Ashley and Mr. Alex. We very much look forward to working with you. And on behalf of city staff across this entire city of Branson at all levels of city government, we're here to support you, to help you, to brief you, to get you up to speed on anything that you need. And I'm going to call this next week to 2 weeks the Buckle Up for Briefings time. So be ready, because our team is all prepared to get you all the information that you need to make good, sound decisions to keep Branson moving forward. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'm not going to go through a long rendition. I think the bottom line is, I just hope and pray that the board that we have today will continue the momentum that the boards we've had over the last 4 years. There's so much momentum and so many good positive things going on, and there's been countless hours and dollars put into them. So I'm just hopeful that that we'll all be able to continue with the moving at the speed of business and getting things done. Thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.
Mayor, I move to go into closed executive session pursuant to.
Hey, hang on, just one. Yeah, I'm sorry. So this is actually a special meeting, so we'll need to call that to order and call roll, and then make that motion. Alderman Cooper.
Excuse me.
Okay, so that being said, do I have a motion to go into closed executive session?
So Mayor, can we call this meeting to order? Do roll, because it is a special.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you give a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Harkness?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Milton?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
Scholes?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
So do I have a motion to go into closed executive session?
So moved.
Second.
So if we could.
Hold on, we got to read this.
If you could read.
So
Yes.
I move to go into closed executive session pursuant to 610.021.1 RSMO for legal actions, causes of actions, or litigation involving a public governmental body, and 610.021.3 RSMO for personnel.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote?
Harkness?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
Scholes?
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries.
The board will now move into closed executive session and will return to the council chambers once executive session is over to adjourn the Board of Aldermen special meeting.
What, your screen's not up? It's right there. It's up over here. What do you see? Should adjourn the meeting.
Oh, he's got the wrong.
Okay, I got it. Do I have a motion to adjourn the Board of Aldermen meeting?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.